Division 2 and you're live with Tux. I got a good show for you today or tonight, Banditos. It's reanimated week and I've been dropping one-tap headshot builds all week. In this live stream, you're going to get a sneak peek, early access to the D50 build I spent a crazy amount of time fine-tuning to perfection. So hang on to your seat because this is going to be a nail-biter build. But before we get started and get too far ahead of ourselves, let's make sure I'm coming in loud and clear. Chat, please drop me a Tux live. If you can hear me, A-OK. What up, everybody who's showing up? Appreciate you guys making this one. I'm really excited to share this build. Actually, I love this week. I love Reanimated. The event is so much fun to play. Welcome, all those who are just now joining. It's been a big and busy week. All right, Sinner361, thank you for being first and hit me up with that Tux Live. Appreciate that. Really does help. I just like to make sure we have no audio issues, if you know what I mean. What up, Blackwater? Welcome to the live stream. Okay, it sounds like I'm coming in good. So let's get right into it. So I'm a little housekeeping before we jump in to the goodies of this particular live stream. Like I mentioned, I'm putting out several headshot build videos to celebrate the Reanimated event. So this is the fourth build of the series I've released for the Reanimated event, and all builds are linked in the description area below in this live stream. All right. So, but again, this is the sneak preview of the upcoming build. So this actual build for this video, and I will go through the build details though, but the actual build video, which will have more details, will be released in the morning. So look forward to that. Lastly, if you like what I do and you want to support me in the Division 2 community, be sure to hit the like right now and subscribe if you haven't, and consider joining Tux's Players Club because there are perks, and I want to give you perks. What up, mobile guy? Welcome to the live stream. Okay, so this is gonna be fun, but let's go jump right into the build, all right? Let's not delay. Okay, so if you've been following the builds that I've been putting out, and again, this is the fourth of the series, then you'll notice that there's been a pattern. So we've done, so far we've done the White Death run and gun build, which was crazy, using this variation. And then we did an 1886 build, named not the named one, but just the regular 1886. And then we did a run and gun shotgun build, which was insane. Now the crazy part is, I feel like progressively, and this is totally me, that I feel like the builds have actually been getting better and stronger as from one build to the next. And that's not for no particular reason. They just have been going that way. There's just maybe the order in which I'm dropping them, but I'm actually enjoying the builds more as we progress. So from build 1 to build 4, I literally like build 4 better than build 1 personally when it comes to like how fast and how well it performs. But the shotgun build was amazing. The 1886 build is no doubt amazing, and they all have their kind of differences and why one is better than the other. But today we are doing, this is crazy. So this is a D50 build, okay? So this is the Desert Eagle .50, you know, and I got mine nice and pink, but look at this beast. She's beautiful, she's pink, and she's shiny, and she utterly destroys and cracks skulls like no other. But this is a really interesting pistol build. So I've done lots of pistol builds in the past. If you guys are familiar with my builds, like Hot Revolver, the Skull Crusher that uses the Regulus. And so, but I didn't want to do the Regulus for this particular build because I did do a poll with you guys in one of my live streams, and it doesn't sound like many of you have the Regulus. But the Regulus is, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Regulus is, let me just pull it up. It's a very strong pistol, right? I mean, just look at the base weapon damage. It's got 704,000 base weapon damage, higher RPM, a little, fewer less rounds in the mag, but it's got a really special talent that basically blows people up, right, with headshot kills. So it's a very special gun. It's you can only get this in Iron Horse Raid, but it's amazing. It's actually my favorite pistol in the game. Okay, and so, but what I have just learned is that the D50 is now my second favorite pistol in the game. Now, I did have the police, I forget what it's called, like the 4551 or police, whatever it is, was actually one that I relied on outside of the Regulus, but I decided the D50 is better. Now the D50 is the strongest variation outside of the Regulus. It's the same variant that the Liberty is built on, but if you notice, there's a lot of differences between the Liberty and the standard D50, okay? But you don't want to use the Liberty with these builds, and I'll show you why. But just from the base variation of the D50, look at the D50 exotic version, the Liberty has all these mods available, right? They give you headshot damage, crit chance, rate of fire, blah, 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 weapon handling. And then it's got Liberty or death, but it's also stronger. If we compare the two, it's 587 base weapon damage, so it's actually, they made it stronger, and it's got a higher RPM. So it's the base of the Liberty is a better D50, okay? So I wish we could use it, but we don't want to use it because of the talent. So the talent is really specific. It actually punishes you, in my opinion, for landing headshots. Okay, so if you look at it, it hits grant 2% weapon damage. We like that, but it stacks up to 30 times, which is great. But headshots consume all those stacks, repairing your shield for 3% per stack. So it's obviously made for shield builds, right? Even if not, it's asking for body shots is what it is. So headshots have a specific purpose, but we don't want that. We're going all for headshots here, okay? So that's the idea. So anyways, enough of the Liberty. We're not using the Liberty. You don't want to use the Liberty with headshot builds for that specific reason. Dark Angels Hub, I appreciate you, man. Really appreciate you making that happen. New Year's shout out to everybody as well, man. And it's been a crazy year, and I can't wait to show you guys what I have in store for this year. And I'll go into a little bit of that here in just a moment after we get past the build. I want to get you guys in the know on what's coming up this coming week. So thanks, man. Appreciate the Happy New Year shout out. But anyway, so one of the things that Reanimated has been doing for us, right? It's been allowing us to highlight basically the strongest weapons in the game, right? These weapons that have a basic one-shot kill power, right? All of these builds that I'm showing you can one-tap named bosses in heroic content, okay? And now they probably can do legendary as well, but I haven't tested any of the legendary, and that's because I'm farming the heck out of heroic content because I'm farming red stars for the Reanimated event, which allows me to get those named item caches. More on that in a little bit, but yeah, so all of these builds have been critically tested and for heroic content. Specifically solo, I have been playing in group a little bit, but I like to do solo for the Reanimated event. So if you're one of those guys that's wondering why I'm running solo, or if you're gonna make that comment, well, group content's harder, of course. But when we're farming Reanimated events for red stars, or any event for red stars, you go faster, you can clear content faster solo, right? So you're gonna get more experience that way, and you're gonna get more red stars that way, and then you're gonna get potentially more dark zone gear that way. So that's kind of the point of that, okay? So anyway, so we got damage to targets that I cover on this pistol. You wanna max this pistol out, and then I'm running preservation. So that's really consistent. So the only build that we didn't run preservation on was the M870 shotgun build that we put out yesterday. Or the day before yesterday. That one had Hunter's Fury, so we had all the armor on kill we needed. So because we're always going for headshot kills, we want to basically take advantage of preservation. None of the talents that are on the offensive side for the pistol, or any of the builds really we've seen this week, are going to help us much, and that's because basically of the talent on the chest, right? So we're running Headhunter, and I'll go into this more in a minute, but once Headhunter kicks in, it sort of takes over all the damage, and now it gives you enough damage to one-shot named bosses, so you don't really need any more damage than that because it just all goes to waste. It all crumbles to waste. So this is a discussion we've been having over and over again, and that's very unique to Headhunter builds, okay? So it's very unique to the talent Headhunter. Headhunter is so strong that you don't really need any much damage beyond that. You just need base weapon damage, multiplicative damage, and then Headhunter itself, okay? And then you do have to have headshot damage to proc that. But anyways, let's get into the first piece that I want to show you for the build, and then we'll circle back around to that chest piece. But so we're running 3 pieces of Douglas and Harding, and I just want you guys to know this build is very finely tuned, okay? So I tried this in dozens of variations, spent many more hours on this than probably any of the other builds, because of the D50 itself has some unique things about it, and I'm gonna go into that in a moment as well. But the Silverback, what up? It's John Week. Yes, it's John Wick week for sure. Hump the Dead, Happy New Year's, everybody. He says, Happy New Year's to you, Hump the Dead. Appreciate you, man. Mobile Guy, glad you covered the Regulus. Yeah, and so the Regulus, if you guys haven't noticed, I have been using the Regulus in all my other build videos, but this is a specific pistol build that we're only going to be using the pistol on, okay? So this is 100% pistol build. So we want to use the D&H Punch Drunk Named Mask, which gives us that special attribute of 20% more headshot damage, also 20% pistol damage, right? And then I have everything maxed out. I got weapon handling and headshot damage as the mod. The weapon handling is very important. So I found out what I've decided to do for the D50. It is so strong. Remember, its base weapon damage is up 552. That's really strong. Look at the rifle at 820. So it's not too far behind the rifle, okay? So, and this is a little mini handgun. So 552, that's really high. I want you to recognize that. So notice the mod here, okay? 15% stability is what I've given myself for the mod. Look, okay, let me just jump right into that, okay? I got stability and accuracy maxed out on everything, okay? I'm just gonna flash through this real fast and then circle back. Look at the accuracy, weapon handling everywhere on this thing, okay? And so this is the thing that you need to realize about the D50. I've maxed out the weapon handling everywhere without using brace, of course. I'm not using brace on the chest. That's because we need headhunter so I can run and gun. But notice the accuracy and stability on the D50 is not topped out. That's insane. So that's telling you how much of a beast this hand cannon is, okay? I have literally 3 pieces of D&H, that's 20% stability, and then I have weapon handling on it, right? And then here's my second piece of D&H that's giving me this stability and accuracy also. More weapon handling, all right? It's not topped out. But here's my third piece, more weapon handling, right? Okay, and then I got my one piece of Fox's Prayers. This is giving me damage to targets out of cover. I have more weapon handling on it, right? But we want 3 pieces of Overlord. So here's my second piece of Overlord. For 20% accuracy, I got more weapon handling on it, right? And then I decided Vigilance is great. Now you can also do the Memento backpack here if you want, but it turns out that the accuracy and weapon handling and stability, really we're after that stability, but the accuracy does help. You need to max out your weapon handling with this beast if you want to do what you're about to see, and your jaw is going to drop of how amazing this is. If you liked any of the builds that I put out this week on the headshots, and if you like one-tapping named bosses, then you're going to like this one. This one is a beaut, and it has a uniqueness to it. And then of course here's a chest piece again. This is a third piece of Overlord, which is giving us 10% more weapon handling. We have an insane amount of weapon handling, guys, okay? And then we have Headhunter, which is basically going to give us 1,250% of our damage based on kill blows, okay? So it's going to be a lot. And in order to get this, you need 150% headshot damage on your build. So if we look at the stats, I've gotten as close to headshot damage as possible. Oh, we need to switch to our pistol. So it went a little bit over, but I didn't have anything else to roll in. And that's because we got 20% armor on kill because we're always killing with the head, right? The 20% armor on kill isn't going to show up on the build, right? And that's because it's coming from the weapon talent. So keep that in mind. It's coming from the pistol, the preservation, okay? But we got no crits, we got no crit damage. We don't need those. And the reason why is because crits would just go to waste. If you put crits on your build, they'll go to waste because once you get your first headshot kill, okay, Headhunter's gonna kick in and it's gonna take over basically the killing power that your build needs. So any offense recurring offensive thing that you have out there, like crits, would just not really be utilized. Of course you can get the damage numbers high, but it doesn't matter because you're just killing everything with one shot anyways. And you'll see that in a second. Named everything, really. So it's really rare that you'll have to, you'll need additional damage to what Headhunter is giving you. It's really rare. Okay, so anyways, so that's basically, I've spec'd into that. And so, but things like weapon handling, okay, pay back in dividends, right? So it keeps paying me back no matter how many, no matter if Headhunter's proc or not. Weapon handling keeps paying me because none of it matters if you're not landing your shots, okay? You can't one tap a boss, a named boss, if you don't land your headshot. You can't get 20% armor on kill if you don't land your headshot, okay? So it all matters. Landing headshots really matters. And this thing is more of a beast than any of the other builds that I have given you to date, okay? The D50 has the most difficult handling. I tried it in many different ways, and it turns out that this is the best way to run the D50, is going all in. Look at that, 114 stability, basically 100% accuracy, 114% stability. And again, okay, we are maxed out on stability and accuracy, and the weapon handling is still not maxed out, okay? There's about 20% left there to go after. So I believe the only way to top this out is probably to run braced, right? Because the build is just maxed. We have no more space for weapon handling. I mean, we have basically 2% more weapon handling there, 2% there, but that is not going to top out the D50. Okay, so let's get the gameplay footage rolling, and your jaw is going to drop because this build is amazing. It's going to kick off right away. So here I am at a heroic control point. I'm also showing you my stars. So I start off at 121 stars. And so you can see. But one of the coolest things about running pistol builds specifically is that they allow you to run directives, right? And so I'm running 3 directives. So I'm running, the one where you have no mini map, and then I'm running Pistolero, and then the one where, you get the skill components, whatever that's called. I always forget the names of these things. But so pretty cool. But look at that. So just one shot in everybody. But the accuracy, so without the stability and accuracy, this would be really hard, I'm telling you. It allows you to basically kill faster. You can put out more shots faster. And so that's a lot of the success. But also you'll notice that you'll see in the gameplay footage that I'm able to take out guys in very long ranges with the D50. I can snipe with the D50, probably up to maybe 50 yards, 50 meters. Really easy, even long. And when I get lucky, I take some guys out at even longer than that, like 100 yards. I can snipe with this thing. That's incredible for the D50. All right. So Nathan Mellenbacker. Okay, Nathan Mellenbacker's ahead of the game. He says, yes, I adjusted your last build to one just like this. It's so good. But yeah, so that handling is gonna save your life. And so we get into some pretty hairy battles here, and I want you guys to definitely keep a close eye on this gameplay footage, because it's absolutely insane to be able to do this with the D50. It is just so powerful weapon. Now, I did try other variations too, like the Police 4551 or whatever it's called, and others, and they have quite a bit less weapon damage, base weapon damage, but they still can do the job. You can. We end up having to roll more into it, and so you do have to make a decision. There's so much stability and accuracy that you have to roll into your D50. You could just as easily take one of the other pistols that are not as strong and just roll more damage into them, right? But the only way to do that is either headshot damage or basically crits, right? And the thing about crits is that when you go for headshots, it's 40% of the time your crits aren't going to be there for you, right? And then you can do damage to armor, but not every target has armor, so there's that, right? So little things like that you have to consider. And so what I like about headshot damage is that basically, that's 100% of the time every target you have has heads, right? Except for tech, of course. So that's the only time outside of that. So that's why I like headshot damage for headhunter builds. Obviously, it makes a lot of sense. After that, then you got a lot of waste. And so when it comes to headshot builds, I'm not a big fan of, or headhunter specifically that. I'm not a big fan of crits, just because, again, you got one shot to make it count, and you need to get the most out of your damage for that one shot. If you look at it, crits, and you turn the crit number outside of its head, the max crits is 60%, right? That means 40% of the time you're not going to get, there's a 40% chance you're not going to get your maximum damage output. And when you only have one bullet to kill, that makes a big difference. There's only 8 rounds in the mag, right? So it's not like an SMG or an assault rifle where you have 50 rounds in the mag. 60% crits is acceptable in that scenario, right? So anyways, notice how fast too that I can pop out of cover. That's also thanks to the all the weapon handling and that this build has. It allows me to pop out of cover. But what's important with these builds, remember I got 20% armor on kill from preservation, okay? And you got to be willing. These are aggressive builds, right? Definitely run a gun, so you have to be willing to take damage, right? So that's part of it. That's part of the strategy. I'm okay with taking a lot of damage as long as I land your shots. So, and that's why accuracy and stability really matter with these builds, because it's you have to land your shots. In order to go fast, in order to run and gun, you need to land your shots. If you're not landing your shots, then the whole strategy breaks down. You're gonna have to slow down. You can still use it, but you're gonna have to slow down. Now, with the D50, okay, just so you're aware of the D50, if you're not familiar with this, it's really easy to miss your shots if you don't roll into that base, if you don't roll into the accuracy and stability. It's a very difficult weapon to use. And I'm pretty good with my headshot builds. I really like them. I have a good time rolling them. And I'll tell you that the D50 is not an easy pistol to use. But I am completely satisfied with how this build turned out now that I had all the weapon handling and whatever. And I just want you guys to know, and I'm gonna keep repeating myself here, that I started with a lot less weapon handling and accuracy, you know? And so it's a matter of basically your play style, what kind of control and settings that you have. But I'm on the Xbox. I am using default settings with a default controller, and that's gonna kind of go into, you know, whether it's working for you or not. But and then again, like, also I noticed, like, when I first kind of started rolling with the D50, it took me a minute to get adjusted. You kind of got to find your rhythm, and what I mean by rhythm is like the handling. You know, get a feel for the pistol before you start going out there and running around like a crazy man. But now again, this is a no shield build too. And so, you know, so there's that, right? So being able to run around with no shield does take a little bit of situational awareness. So if you're not as successful as you see that I am, and I still go down from time to time, so it does happen anyways. But you know, just realize that, you know, I've been playing this game for a while, so I have good, you know, I have good knowledge of where my spawn points are and which enemies are tankier than the others, who I got to look out for. Some enemies are dodgier than others as well, not just tankier, but they're harder to hit. Actually, the aim assist in the game works against you with certain enemies, like the Grenader lady on whatchamacallit, these True Sons guys. The gamer lady, the Grenader lady is actually dodgy. She makes you miss a lot of shots, sort of like the Widowmaker, the Shotgun lady, and the Black Tusk. She makes you miss a lot of shots too. It's the way she moves. And what the game does, if you pay attention to your joysticks or your thumbsticks, you'll notice that they kind of move in a direction you don't want them to go. And that's their way of making certain targets basically more difficult for you. But the other thing you got to look out for too is that the D50 also wants to go for the body. And so Breadbasket, you know, if you're running a different talent set, if you're running a different setup, Breadbasket could also be a good talent for this weapon, because it's sort of the pistol. You will notice this right away, is that it gravitates to the body. Like you can see, you can actually literally feel the barrel of the muzzle of the pistol pulling down at first. And so be careful on how quick you are on the trigger. You know, let it find itself on the head before you put out that shot, otherwise you'll land it on the body. Now, which is not the end of the world, but if you want to make most out of your talent, Headhunter, you want to land those on the shots. I mean, on the heads. So you'll get a feel for that. You'll get a feel for that. But also, you know, with all this accuracy and stability, you also feel the pistol gravitating towards weak points. But I don't care about weak points in this. I want the head every time. So, anyways, that's me. That's me. What up, you get me? Welcome to the stream. We got Moby. Yeah, there's a lot of probably names you guys are recognizing in the soundtrack in the background. But but it just depends on when what song you're talking about. And I'm also bad at remembering song names too. So when you ask me, I'm like, I don't remember the name. I'm always bad at remembering names of songs. Dave Cortez, Happy New Year, buddy. Welcome to the stream too. Sin City Ron from Vegas. What up, what up? So Nomex, you use the Mantis. Yeah, I like the, with your 1886 build, I really like the Mantis. The Mantis is my favorite sniper in the game. I did feature the Mantis for the last reanimated event we had, 3 weeks ago, whenever that was. And I usually use my Mantis a lot for this because you could just clean house, right? You basically sit in one spot and just take everything out really fast. I mean, you could probably clear heroic control points about 3 minutes maybe without moving. So that's pretty good. So it's obviously less risky too. So, I mean, I do have a little bit of armor on my Mantis build because I usually use the Sawyer's knee pads. I like the Sawyer's knee pads with that. I use 3-piece aces with Sawyer's knee pads, and then Providence and Heraldi. And then I use Vigilance and Headhunter. And yeah, and I'm sure you use something similar, but it really works out. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have a chance to feature a Mantis build for this setup because we're running out of days. If I'm lucky, I'll get one more headshot build out for you guys. If I'm lucky. So we'll see how tonight goes. But I hope you guys have been getting your stars. I've gotten, let me see here. Let me switch back over. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, so you should be farming this event. I've been farming, it's been going on all week. And if you didn't know, you can go to your menu here. And these are where all the past and current events are. And so we're using reanimated. And as you can see from a glance, you can see how many stars you've collected, red stars at the bottom there. So I have 135. And so you get red stars by completing these challenges, right? And I don't really focus on the challenges. I just kind of play, and they just, I get most of them by just playing. So, and then you also get, by earning red stars, you also unlock those rewards track, which are some very valuable things in here, including season caches, which are really cool. They get you some things that were on the rewards track, which is up here at the very top right. You see that rewards track, so this is the last season. But anything that was on the top row can potentially drop in one of these season caches. So that's pretty cool. And then you also get the named item caches, which is what I'm after, because that gets me some really unique gear, and I'm always pretty impressed with the stuff that I get out of there. My best things have come out of these named item caches, and I don't always get lucky. I find though, when I have the ability to open at least 20 named item caches, I usually do get lucky. And what I mean by lucky is by pulling out, 2 or 3 things that I'm really excited about to create builds. And so yeah, so how you do that, so with those stars, okay, so it's really important, guys, when these events end, you lose all your unspent stars, so you need to spend them. So I'm at the White House, and this has happened to me in the SHD exposed event. I lost all my stars. I only had 60, but that was a lot actually. So, but yeah, so you go up to this is a season vendor, and they're only open when there's an active season. So when the seasons are over, which is, we have one more season, then this will no longer be available. But each season event, when it ends, so this one ends on Monday night, those red stars at the bottom will disappear. So you have to spend these by Monday night, okay? So all of these are okay. These are okay. Now, I know a lot of people spend these on the optimization caches, but I'm not a big fan of those. So a lot of people are really after the SHD calibration. So you get the field recon data just by completing control points. And so if you notice, like I've actually done a lot of optimization, but my field recon data is always topped out. But I've been doing a lot of optimization because I've been putting out builds daily for you guys. And as you can see, even in this build, like look at all the optimizing. Look at there's 2 slots optimized there, and then there's a slot optimized there. And then look at the pistols optimized, right? So I've spent a lot of optimization. And remember, 1 point basically when you're optimizing. So 1 SHD calibration is basically equal to 1 shade level, right? So you get rewards at the top. You can see I have 67 rewards left. And so you can just purchase these things, right? You can just, if you wanted to, but field recon data, you'll get enough of those just by doing control points. So it's really you're spending in this SHD calibration area. So I feel like the optimization caches are a waste because they only give you 3 SHD calibrations, but you're spending 12 red stars. So 12 red stars, you're basically paying, all the other stuff isn't that valuable in my mind. Okay, it's kind of random. Tactical assessments, weapon alloys, gear weaves, whatever. And then field recons is just control points. But so I feel like you're paying 4 red stars per SHD calibration, and that's because that's really what we're after, and that's really expensive because you can just level up your character, and so that's basically equal to 1 red star. You know, really. So I really feel like they're overpriced optimization caches. Legacy season caches are great. It's there's 12 red stars. You do get 2 items, so it's like buy one get one half off. The catch to them though is that in the season rewards tracks, there were other things that you are really easy to get, like Hunter's Fury pieces and Eclipse Protocol pieces. You know, so all that's mixed into the legacy season caches. So it's sort of risky, but what's also in here is system corruption. There's actually a really good shot that you'll get system corruption pieces with these legacy season caches. So if you really want system corruption, then definitely farm those. In my experience, I got a 20 to 40% chance of getting system corruption when I open these. And so that's actually pretty good. And so, but there's no guarantee there. Again, there's a lot of other stuff that you can possibly get, including named items though, right? Like the Dark Winter was part of a season's reward track. So you can get the Dark Winter here. But then, and do not buy exotic caches with your red stars. It's an extremely huge waste of money. 20 red stars is 20 SHD levels. You're better off just doing your projects, your weekly projects. There's 3 per week that you can get here. 1 for completing a legendary, 1 for donating resources, and then 1 for completing 30 floors. So that's 3 a week. I mean, that's way better than spending your resources here. I say, so that's what brings me to the named item caches. It's right there in the middle. It's really on the lower side, really. They're really cheap, 8 red stars. And named item caches, you can also get crap that you get in the open world, right? But many of the named items we actually really like in this game, and I think the named items are up there. I mean, they compete with the exotics in my mind for best gear in the game. So, I mean, we're talking like the White Death, the Virginian. I mean, like here's the Virginian. All these things like the Test Subject, Dark Winter, Swap Chain, the Mop. I mean, look, they're my loadouts. A couple of White Deaths. You know, I always have variations. The Fox's Prayer knee pads, which aren't DZ exclusive, but also the Emperor's Guard knee pads, which are DZ exclusive. And I have several variations of everything, basically, right? So, and then there's also the Contractor's Gloves, but the Death Grips, which are DZ exclusive. And I'm always after a pair of Death Grips. And then I'm also looking for unique variations of those things. So not just, you know, the standard, you know, crit whatever setup, but I'm also looking for things that wouldn't normally have skill damage, and they come with skill damage, and that helps me create these really unique builds. And so anyways, so my strategy is to try to get at least 20 named item caches per event, which is going to cost 160 red stars. And so I'll probably get there today, but I'll also have a couple from the rewards track too, that will help also. But you know, I want to milk everything I can get out of this event. Now, what's cool about this particular event, okay, is that, like I said, the reanimated one, in my opinion, is the best event in the game. Not just because I think it's fun, and it is. I think it's extremely fun, but also because, like I said, you're allowed. It gives you, because you're focused on heads, and you're going to be looking at those really high-powered weapons that allow you to get one-shot headshot kills, right? And the event itself boosts your power and a little bit of your weapon handling, so it's helping you get those headshot kills. So you're highly rewarded for headshot kills, and that's why we've created these headshot builds for you, right? So, like, you know, take your pick, basically. But the point is that you're less reliant on skills. You're less reliant on large amounts of ammo, right? Because you're looking at these one-shot, one-kill builds with the builds that I've been recommending at least. So that allows you to pump up your directives, right? So there's a couple of directives I didn't put on, like I didn't put on armor break. That's because I'm running around like a madman, and that would sort of slow me down. And speed is something that I'm trying to take advantage of here. So, and then also special ammo, same reason. So it would slow me down a lot. They're basically and that's because part of my strategy is to take damage. I'm accepting damage, and I'm okay with that. But if I get hit with a bullet that catches me on fire, then I'm no longer able to aim on my target's head. Have you guys noticed that? So like when you're on fire, or when you're dizzy, disorientated, or whatever the special ammo is, like from bleed or whatever, that it takes away from your targeting system, right? You're no longer able to target well. And so from there, it's kind of lucky whether you hit your target. But so that's why I don't use those two things again. So for speed, and also part of the survivability, because I'm literally running around out of cover with no shield. And for me, the strategy is to always be moving, you know, and from time to time I pop into cover naturally. You should too, like when you need to, but for the most part, it's about staying out of cover. So, but what I just wanted you to notice there, and to continue to pay attention to, is just like the other weapons. Okay, let's compare this with the last couple of builds. So which was the M870 shotgun, okay, the M870 shotgun and the 1886. So one of the things that's unique about those two builds is that both of them are all three of these builds have something in common. Two things in common, we'll say, okay? Three things in common. Actually, now that I think about it. Four things in common. They all have everything in common, okay? But one of those is what? All three of these weapons are have the highest base weapon damage in their category. So the D50 has the highest base weapon damage in its category. The 1886, the highest base weapon damage for all rifles. The M870, highest base weapon damage for all shotguns, okay? Number two, they all have low or small mags, right? I think both the shotgun and the rifle have somewhere around 5. Is that right? 5 or 6 or something like that. This the D50 only has 8. I feel like it should have more, by the way. Big bullets, I guess, huh? But the other thing is, the other thing that they all have in common, which is really important. Okay, the most important thing is they all have staggering power. And so that's what I want you to pay attention to. That's part of the reason why I'm surviving. So even if my first bullet doesn't kill them, it staggers them, which gives me enough time to get the second shot out that is the kill shot. Okay, so that's my survivability. That's my shield in the game, is the staggering for all of these builds, which is why I don't need to run a shield. And that's really important. And all the vets in the game will tell you the same, that it's really important. It's one of the reasons why the Baker's Dozen was really popular, is because it had staggering power. So when you hit somebody in the chest with it, even if it's not a kill blow, it'll stagger the enemy, which gives you enough time to get the second shot out, which is the kill shot. So anyway, so that's why I'm using this. So you notice there, I staggered him and then I killed him. Staggered him and I killed him. And that's okay, and that's perfect. That's fine. That works. That's great. I mean, I'd rather do it always in one shot, but if it takes 2 shots, I'm not bothered. But let's just take out these bosses with 1 shot if we can. Let's see if I get it. Boom. And that's how you do it. And so notice that, let me just rewind that for a quick second. So let's see here. We're at 15:10. So let me rewind that for a quick second, because I think that was important. What I want to show you there, not so much the kill shot, but hold on a second. Okay. So it's the moves. Okay. And so what I mean about the moves, I'm not bragging about my moves, even though they're pretty fancy. So I like to shake and bake. But it's the accuracy and stability. You can't do this without that. You see that? So that's the accuracy and stability. All right, you just can't do that without rolling into your accuracy and stability. You know, I mean, I'm on the Xbox, and again, I'm using standard controller, standard settings. So you PC people might be able to do that. I don't know, but this takes skill. But more importantly, it's my settings that are really helping me there. I mean, I can't say that enough. All that accuracy and stability, that moment right there, I think justifies it all, and why you want to set up your build just like I have it. I'm telling you, I tested the shit out of this build, And the way it's set up is it has the power to kill in a single shot. It's got a power to stagger and kill if you miss your shot, if you miss the headshot. But more importantly, you're landing your headshots. And as long as you're doing that, then you're also healing yourself. So you got fastest time to kill, fastest time to heal, just like all of the other builds that I've put out for this reanimated event. Let's see what you guys have to say. Hump the Dead says, your headshots remind me of pre-update Red Dead 2 headshots. I don't know that game actually, but I know I see a lot of people enjoy it. You know, I can see that from YouTube and how much attention that game gets. But that's the cowboy game, right? No, right? Hump the Dead says, I want the head every time too, Tux. Yeah, you know, and part of what I did here with all of these builds, okay, because I've created headshot builds in the past, because they're so satisfying, guys. I mean, I feel bad for you if you're not taking advantage of headshot builds. They're so satisfying. I mean, I have to stop myself from using them. I mean, as a matter of fact, like my clan, my homies, the guys that I play with on the regular, they sometimes get irritated with me when I run these builds because I clear everything in group play, okay? Before they, I mean, my kills are crazy compared to theirs, just to put it that way. And legendary too. Now, obviously it's a little bit different strategy when I'm playing legendary in group. I'm talking like my mantis builds and stuff like that too. So more than just these crazy reanimated builds, I'm talking about like everyday headshot builds. They're very satisfying, you know, and so you see that shot there, that distance right there, that's crazy, right? So I saw him out of the basically corner of my eye. I thought that I had everybody. So let me just rewind this real quick. So I finished this guy off, and so he called a couple of his crazy homies, you know, these crackheads that run around throwing knives at you and whatever with the garbage can lids. So I thought I had them all because notice I don't have my radar on, right? I have the directive on. But look at that guy in the very far distance there. Watch him. Watch him. Boom. That's the D50, guys. I sniped him with the D50. That was a sniper shot at that range. One shot to the head there. That's the D50. You can't do that with the D50. I'm telling you can't do that with the D50 unless you have accuracy and stability built in. So anyways, you know me, I'm really excited about this build, guys, because I'm having a lot of fun. Like, I'm actually gonna have a hard time not playing it today because I'm gonna try to create another build. But I had so much fun creating this build and playing it yesterday that, man, I mean, you know, like I said, like same with the shotgun build and 1886 build, all of them, you know, it's just like, there's so much fun. It's just like, oh, you know, you think I'm like, I'm just gonna play this one. This one's great. It's a blast. And then I create another build and be like, oh, this one's better than the last one. I'm gonna play this one out. You know, so, yeah, I don't know. But we'll see what I come up with. If I'm able to come up with one more for tomorrow, I want to. But just so you know, guys know that all of these builds, I hope you're realistic that the reanimated event is giving you a boost in both handling and damage. Okay, so keep that in mind. So you get more of a boost if you're standing in the green cloud because the green cloud heals you also. So that's definitely working to my advantage when I run through that green cloud. But I want you guys to know, like, realize that these are the strongest weapons in the game. Okay, and Headhunter is one of the strongest chess piece talents that synchronizes, synergizes really nicely with these weapons. Okay, so so realistically, these builds are going to work and will work outside of the reanimated event, just a little bit differently. Okay, so keep that in mind. But so for example, it's all about the first kill, really. It's the first kill that's going to change. Everything else will be the same. Okay, everything else is gonna be the same. It's about the first kill. So in many cases, I'm getting that first kill in one shot. Well, in most cases, if I land that headshot, it's a kill. Okay, but without reanimated, that might take 2 shots. Worst case scenario, 3 shots, okay? With like the D50 as an example, but that's not a problem. But once you get, I mean, the non-elites, we're not talking about those. We're talking about elites, okay? We're talking about elites. So, but with that doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, right? So the point is that once you get Headhunter procced, everybody's going down with 1 shot, right? You just need to be able to land your shot. So it's like that for all the builds, right? So like the M870 shotgun build, I created one, you know, this time using Headhunter, and it was so much fun, right? That was the build that I just put out like yesterday or the day before. But everybody knows, everybody who's experienced with that M870 shotgun should know that you can do the same thing, and I've done the same thing with an M870 shotgun build without the reanimated events assistance. We're going around one tap. That's the whole point of the M870. That's the whole point of the 1886. Okay, is that they give you the power to one tap everything, and that's a lot of that has to do with Headhunter, pairing them up with Headhunter. And I think a couple of things that, like, I guess going back to what I was alluding to earlier, is that I've created these builds with you guys in mind, those of you who say that you have potato aim or your aim sucks, right? Like, because I put out these builds before in the past outside of this event, you guys are like, oh, it looks so much fun. I wish my aim didn't suck. And so that's one of the reasons why I integrated all this accuracy and stability into these builds, is to help you guys land more of your shots who think your aim sucks. But I also realized that it's the way to go. It's the way to go. It sort of opened my eyes that adding more power to the builds was just so much waste. And it made me realize, like, for the 1886 setup, right? Like, that the Virginian actually is such a waste, just brings so much waste. So and I'm not talking about, more power is waste. That's not what I'm saying. It's not flat out. I'm saying with Headhunter builds. With Headhunter is so strong. Once you get your first kill, all those talents become useless, when it's just like, until you have to get your new first kill, Anyways, but so that's, I think, some big revelations that have come out of this event, and I'm really glad we've taken the time to create all these builds and discuss them together, because I think we've learned something. I've learned something. I'm always learning something, and what I've learned this time around is that there are better ways to synergize your damage output on Headhunter builds with your survivability, and what you need to do is try to find ways to roll in things that won't go away once Headhunter is procced. Like Boomerang goes away when Headhunter is procced, right? Or Optimus or Strained or anything like that. Once Headhunter procs, none of those vigilance doesn't matter. No longer matters, because Headhunter does all the work. So, yeah, I hope that helps. Let's see what chat has to say. Really liking the mask. 2H0 TTI3. Really liking the mask, Tux. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's the same mask my character rolls. So, when I'm in the game, I'm wearing this mask. When I'm out of the game, I'm also wearing this mask, if you know what I mean. Happy New Year's to you as well, bud. Yeah, so Nomex, good question. The answer is yes. So Nomex asks, does the bonus armor and cover with sharpshooter proc intimidate? The answer is yes. So any bonus armor works for intimidate. And to your point, actually, that would be kind of an interesting setup. You could roll intimidate. And also, you could also roll the memento backpack, so you can get 2 sets of bonus armor and kind of bounce from cover to cover. That would be a great way to run this build, Nomex, if that's what you're thinking. So you combine it with, take out vigilance, obviously. Combine it with, what are we calling it? The memento, and then when you also get in cover, you're going to get that bonus armor as well. So you can double stack all of that. And then also the memento is going to give you that armor core, which is also going to, I guess, give you more armor to work with, so you get more bonus armor. So that bonus armor will mean more. But yeah, it will work. It will work. And so yeah, I mean, if you guys are wondering, so intimidate and glass cannon would probably also allow you to get these headshot kills like I'm doing. They would give you enough power to do that. The only difference is that they won't guarantee a headshot kill to bosses. There's no guarantee there, where Headhunter basically guarantees it, because that multiplication of your damage, which is really additive, but is so large, it comes in such large amounts that it's gonna basically guarantee. Even if I'm not maxed out on Headhunter, just that one kill, if I kill one red guy and then shoot a boss, he will die. That's all I need. And that's thanks to the weapon base damage, being so large. But anyways, really good question. Also, I don't want to run glass cannon because I'm spending way too much time out of cover, and part of my strategy is to take damage. And if I was running glass cannon, I would have to slow way down. And the reason why I don't want to slow down is not because I like running around like El Pollo Loco, but well, I do. But I'm farming these red stars, and so I want to clear content quickly. But this build, like I said right in the intro, guys, it's an exhilarating build. All right, it's a nail-biting build. I mean, you know, I hope you brought your blood pressure pills, let's put it that way. If not, then your heart might pop out of your chest mid-play. So, and wear diapers because you could end up shitting yourself too. In some scenarios. I do a little bit. I'm like, oh man, this is such a fucking good build. Like, I just shot myself. Not really. Well, sort of. But like some of these moments, like I'll be surrounded by enemies and I clear them all out with one shot, and it's just fucking amazing. Like I just walk away going, wow, that just happened, you know. And I wish, you know, with the build, that's why I like the live streams, because I can show you guys more gameplay footage that I can show in a build video, you know, because I like my build videos to be really concise and short, you know, 10 to 12 minutes, kind of to the point. And I can only show highlights, but you know what goes into those highlights, right? How did I get into that position where I was able to shoot everybody? But look, here's a one shot to the boss right here, boom, right? And all his homies. So I left him standing alone. And so I mean that's what I'm talking about. On the run, all that happened on the run. Did you guys blink when that happened? Let's see here. There we go. So watch this. So this is all on the run. So, you know, my strategies. So this is where the experience comes in. What I'm trying to do is fight my way to that door, right? And so that's why I want to go. That's why I'm pushing forward, right? I have a purpose. I have an intention. I have an objective. Get to the door. Get to the boss as he's coming out of the door. If you can do that, then you're going to cut down in the time it takes to clear content, right? Dramatically. And so, because if they come out of that door, then they're going to spread out, they're going to plant, they're going to put up their tech. And so this is just so much faster. So let's take out, what I like to do is take out his homies, take out his support, and then take out the boss. So that was all out of cover. I took a little bit of damage. I accepted that damage. That's okay. It was worth it. It paid off. High risk, high reward all week, right? And that's right, what I mean right there. When you're in that moment, you know, it's exhilarating. That's a thrill. That's your adrenaline. I promise you, your adrenaline is up. You know, that's how these builds pay you. They pay you in adrenaline. What up, you get me? Did I say hello? I'm not sure if I did. What up, what up? Jay Wilsey, oh, so reliable. Yeah, guys, just like Jay Wilsey says it, and says it best, be sure to hit the like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't done that either. And consider joining Texas Players Club. That reminds me, good segue there. So next week is our first full week in the year 2022. Okay, so I'm going to dedicate next week to entirely to Texas Players Club. And so if you guys don't know who Texas Players Club members are, they are the guys in the chat feed that have the little skulls next to their name. All right, so then the skulls are different colors depending on how long they've been in the Players Club. But if you didn't know, I create classified builds, which are secret builds that I make just for Texas Players Club, true and hardcore Bandito member levels. And these are extra builds I make as a thank you for supporting me, the channel, and therefore the entire community, because that's what I do is I build and support the community, and I create builds, and that's one of the ways I do it. But if you want to tap into these secret builds, you can get access today by making sure you're at least a true Bandito member level. And you can just click the join button below, but I will also drop a join button in the feed. So the join buttons, you guys, if you didn't know, will only show up on, like, if you're on a computer, but they don't necessarily show up like if you're on your cell phone watching this from a cell phone. So that's why I drop these links which are in the feed. But there's always a join button in the description of every video I put out, and then you can also go to my channel page, but I just dropped one for you there. So next week I'm going to dedicate again entirely to the Players Club, you know, by putting out 3 classified builds that I've been segueing all week into, showing you guys what those are going to be. And then I'm also going to do some members only exclusive live streams. And then I am working on the next episode of the of Tux's Netflix style build miniseries, if you're familiar with that. If you're not, I do have a channel dedicated to those videos on my, I'm in a playlist on my channel dedicated to those videos. But those are the cinematics, the storyline, the Division 2 story that I have created, which is basically a miniseries, Netflix style miniseries. So yeah, and so I'm working on that next episode, and which is going to segue us into season 2 of the Netflix style build miniseries. And so hardcore Bandito members, if you're out there listening, you guys get exclusive sneak peek access to that premiere. So basically it's like a movie night that we do together. And so you'll get the invites to that. And then we will basically watch the release, the premiere together in a private viewing. And then also kind of do a Tux talk right after and sort of kind of get into the lore of the game and also discuss the builds and stuff like that that the characters are using. But yeah, so it's going to be a big week, a big couple of weeks. And so I'm really excited to kind of break in the new year by celebrating you members that have contributed and support the channel in so many ways, in all the ways that you guys do. So, you know, and of course, just watching the videos is one way to support me. So if you're not in the Players Club, don't feel bad. I love you guys that just supporting, coming to these live streams, hitting the like button. That's a great way to support the community, also to support the cause. And so, and you guys hear me talking about this a lot lately because I've sort of found it to be a big deal as I've kind of been contemplating on what I would like to see happen in 2022. And for me, my big goal is to really focus more on the community. Not that I've sort of always been focusing on the community, but focus more on bringing us together. I think that, you know, whether it's through the clans or, you know, through this community, online community on YouTube, also be doing more on Twitch and whatnot, but is to getting everybody to unite because your experience in this game at this point is going to be highly related to who you spend your time with. And I think more now than ever, okay? And the reason why is because the devs aren't putting out a lot of content. That was amazing kill footage right there, if you guys didn't see that. But the devs aren't giving us a lot of content, right? And so, you know, it's kind of time that we unmarry ourselves to the developers. We need to unmarry ourselves to the developers. Now, they're gonna be releasing content. I believe they always come through on what they say they're gonna do. I do respect the devs for doing that. And obviously time has been one of the things that they've fallen short on, but it is what it is, right? And you know, the developers have their corporate, you know, responsibility that they report to and whatever, and just not much we're gonna do to influence that, believe it or not, because they have whatever their agenda is. So anyways, if you love this game, if you are passionate about this game and you do not want to see it go, that's 100% in your hands, you know. And you, I believe all of us, you know, dictate whether this game lives on, whether the devs drop new content or not. They can drop new content, but you know, it's just like, but the game lives on because we are through the spirit in which we invoke, right, that we create. And that's purely based on your attitude and who you're hanging around with. So my point is, like, if you're hanging around dudes that say the game is dead, or negative Nancy's that are always, you know, complaining about build diversity and don't believe there should be any, you know, or if you're playing around people that, you know, just maybe only, you know, spend their time doing one thing and aren't branching out, then the game is just gonna, it's gonna maybe not be as fun as you would like it to be, right? But if you find yourself hanging around people that are playing on a regular basis, that are exploring new ways and new builds, I mean, that's how you keep the game fresh. I mean, new builds create a new experience, right? A new, like if you're a sniper kind of guy, right, and you kind of hang back and play distance, and you start migrating yourself into a run and gun build, you know, and that's kind of the progression that I went, then you find yourself like in a whole new world of gameplay, a whole new world of build setups. Or if you start doing legendaries like duo or legendary solo, then that's like basically hardcore mode, so to speak, right? It's a way of playing like a hardcore mode that doesn't punish you as much, right? Or play hardcore mode, right, if you haven't done that. But either way, I guess my point is that we have developed a community that has kind of gotten to a point where it's developing itself, and what I'm really proud of and what you guys have done is have turned it into a really positive environment, really with a lot of tolerance and acceptance, and I'm really proud to see where it is right now, and that's thanks to you guys. So so if you guys want to get involved, I mean, like I'm saying, like I always say in every video, check out the Discord. You need to be over there. It doesn't cost you anything. If you have no experience with Discord, don't worry, you'll catch on to it. It's just a bunch of chat feeds, just like you're participating in right now. It's basically like that, except they're called channels. That's the only difference. They're called channels, and each channel is a subject. So one subject could be like Xbox group up, or one subject could be Xbox clans. And so if you're interested in kicking it with the Xbox clan people, then you go to that channel. Or we have one that's build talks, right? So if you want to talk about builds, or share your build, or review other people's builds, or get build ideas, then that's the channel you go to. And so that's why, so if you're a build connoisseur, which you should be if you're playing the Division 2, because you probably don't know you are, but that's what's unique about the Division 2 are all these builds, right? It's a very technical game, which is why there are not a lot of little kids playing it, right? It's because they don't normally have the patience. The younger audience doesn't normally have the patience with a game that's really this technical. There's a lot of nuances to this game, right? So, so if you enjoy the Division 2, that's probably one of the things that you really enjoy about it, are the builds and the variations and the layers in which make a great build. And so, that's something that we cover on our Discord, right? And these are, again, free resources to you. But if you are in Tuxes Players Club, you should know that we also have a members only section within our Discord, and we also have a members only playlist on my YouTube channel. So you should be taking advantage of those, because resources are available for you there. So I'm gonna actually, now that I remember, I'm going to take those links to those members only areas. I'm gonna drop it here in the chat feed. So if you click those, if you are a member, it'll allow you to get in to those areas. But yeah, so there's the playlist on my channel. It's right at the top of my channel, guys. It says members only, and so if you're a member, you'll be able to get access to that. And depending on what member level you are, you'll have access to certain videos and whatnot. So, and then again, we have a members only in Discord. So that's where you can find me. That's where you can get easier access to me if you have questions or just want to say what's up. Use the Discord. That's a great place to have more of a conversation with me. But of course, commenting here is another way. What's going on, Steve Flanagan? Welcome, man. Glad you made another one. Happy New Year to you. And I believe Northern Ireland you are. Our Northern Ireland brothers are representing. I love my Irish homies. I got a lot of Irish homies. I was mentioning in the last stream when Steven showed up that, I lived abroad, and for 3.5 years, and a lot of my expat friends were Irish. Not descendants, but from the nation, Ireland. So, and I just found like their culture just to be really cool, really open, really unique, friendly, they're people, basically, I felt like. And I found that to be very consistent from one to the next, but yeah. And that's what I love about live streaming, guys. Like, I just love interacting with a multinational community, and I know you guys are from all over the place. So definitely do shouts out from your country, your city. I love to see that. Lets me know. Also, kind of helps me gauge where my audience is at. I mean, I do look at the metrics and the stats that YouTube gives me, but it doesn't give me as much as I would like to see on the live side of things. So. If you guys have noticed, I've been trying to do live streams at different hours. So I do live streams, mixing it up. So sometimes I do them at like 9:30 in the morning. Sometimes I do them just after noon. Today we started around just shy of 5 o'clock. So I'm trying to catch people in different time zones so I can get everybody. But so hopefully you are catching multiple live streams and that are landing in your time zone, because I'm doing that. But Jimmy, Anthony, how are you, man? I'm doing good. What's up with you? Patch Pike, no, I don't sell build sets. No, I don't do that. Good question, but some people do confuse that with the Players Club, but I don't sell builds. The builds that I give, the classified builds, the secret builds I make in Texas Players Clubs. So those are extra builds that I create as what they call membership perks. So the Players Clubs, people that join that become members to my YouTube channel. They've been members to our Division community. They're basically supporting the cause, right? And so in a monetarily way, in a monthly monetarily way. And there's 3 levels. There's Tuxedotional level, which is basically $1, and then there's True Bandidos, which is $2.99, and that gives you access to the secret builds. And then there's the Hardcore Bandidos at $9.99, which gives you access to the secret builds as well. And both of those, all 3 of those, give you access to members only live streams. And then Hardcore Bandito member levels get 2 other perks. One would be in the exclusive premieres to the miniseries, the private viewings, but also digital downloads, which are available on a quarterly basis. So, and I'm actually going to be moving that to 2022 to a monthly basis. So Hardcore Banditos, I'm going to be moving your digital downloads to a monthly basis. So if you don't know how to get to those, I do give links in the community tab of my channel to get to your digital downloads. So be sure that you have your notifications turned on. But those digital downloads, if you're a hardcore member level, they're also available in the members only playlist on my channel. So, but you might not realize that, but you're the only one that has access to those as a hardcore bandito. So others don't have that in their members only playlist like you do. So just so you know. But again, those are, I guess my point is to all of that is that, like, I'm not selling that stuff. Those are perks for being members, and the perks just are variable depending on which membership level you are. But really good question. Some people get that confused because there are other content creators that actually sell builds, so you can pay them, I think, like $20 to or something like that to do a build for you, a custom build for you if you want. But unfortunately, I don't have the resources to be able to dedicate time to do individual builds for individual people, whatever they're willing to pay. But I appreciate that. But I got a whole community I'd like to engage with. So, but so I really like to focus. I like to bring you guys into the Texas Players Club and Discord because, again, I want to centralize the community for 2022. That's going to be that's my big goal, and I would really like you guys' support there. And again, it's not all about, the money part of Texas Players Club. If you can't do the monthly monetarily donation to be a member, then that's totally cool. Be part of Discord. There's no cost to that, and you guys, if you're not familiar with Discord, it's just a social media app made for video gamers to be able to have more of conversations, right? So, like, it's hard to have conversations on YouTube outside of these live streams, right? There's just basically chat feeds from there. Comments, and it's just, comments are comments, right? They're not real conversations where we can have a nice dialogue going back and forth. So, where Discord sets that up for us. And so we have our base topic is obviously the Division 2, and then we have a bunch of subtopics there. So anyways, so don't be intimidated by Discord if you haven't used it before. It's only intimidating when you first look at it because there's all these channels and you're like, where do I go? But all they are is just different topics, different conversations, like I said earlier. So really, I was late to the game on Discord myself. I didn't jump on Discord until I opened up my channel soon after. And my channel is only a year old, so this is a young channel relatively, right? And so I think we've done a really good job. You guys have done a really good job in supporting me to help it get as big as it is. But that's not important. That's what's important is that we're rallying together again, because we need to be less reliant on the developers and making sure that we get the most out of this game. And we can do that together, right? But yeah, I'm still looking forward to the new content, and can't wait to hear when we're gonna get it. So they did say we're gonna get a delay and not receive that February date, but they haven't given us a new date yet. So I hope as we turn the year, they'll have better projections for us. But I think with COVID and stuff, I think the industry's probably taken another hit as far as team reliability and deadlines and stuff like that. So no excuses, but I'm just saying that's what I suspect is going on. I think they're counting for that. But base Connor. Been running headshot builds smeared in Tux sauce. That's funny, man. Smeared in Tux sauce. I should call that. That's good. I'm gonna call it. Yeah. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna borrow that from you. This build is smeared in Tux sauce. I like that. Although the 1886 tends to pull to center mass from time to time in gameplay, but man, are they fun. Yeah, totally. That's what I'm saying. Like, the D50 does that too. It pulls into center mass, right? And so, not always, but sometimes. And so you can feel that. And so what I find is kind of being light on the thumbsticks helps a little bit. When you feel it pulling down, you know, just don't be heavy on your trigger. And I'm light on the thumbsticks and light on the trigger. Patience, I guess, is what that is, right? Pick your shots. But so that first shot right there, that was a prime example. Like, it pulled down, and that one didn't land on the head. But so yeah, but it happened. So yeah, like, but the good news is this with all of these builds is like it doesn't always matter, because the base weapon damage in the gun is so strong that even if you miss your shot, you stagger him long enough to get your second shot. You notice like I bounced back and now he's running away. So it's so strong, you're gonna stagger him. And so so even if you miss your shot, hit him in the chest, that's good. But yeah, so breadbasket, if you weren't running Headhunter, if you weren't running well, you could also build that into your strategy. It would, again, it does create a little bit of waste, but to your point, basically, you could go breadbasket, right? So breadbasket gives you what, 35% more headshot damage after you hit the chest, and you can stack it 3 times. So if you did that, if you played that as part of your strategy, 1 to the chest, 1 to the head, 1 to the chest, 1 to the head, then you could lower your headshot damage on your build by 35%, right? So you could run 115% headshot damage, right? And do 1 to the chest, and then 1 to the head to proc Headhunter, right? And then from there you'd have to just go for headshots, because your headshot damage isn't gonna matter anymore. But that would I'm not sure how that would work with Headhunter, if you would still be able to get to 1,250% if it's going to count that, because I've never actually tested that, and I'm not sure if it'd actually show you. So it'd be like this damage number comparison, which would be hard to test. But either way, that could be part of your build strategy. Now, if you weren't using the Headhunter, you'd be better off with that, because once Headhunter kicks in, then breadbasket just kind of goes to the wayside, right? And so, and I hate that. I really don't like that. Like, I don't like having 2 talents that disappear because of Headhunter, like Vigilance disappearing, and breadbasket being disappearing, or boomerang, whatever that you're using. Like, that bothers me to have 2 wasted talent slots that are no longer working for me for 90% of my kills, right? Because they're only working for the first kill, which is great. So, I mean, but so some loss, some waste is gonna have to be tolerated with Headhunter if you want to be efficient. And so I've decided that Vigilance is what I'm willing to lose. So once I proc Headhunter, Vigilance goes away, right? But I need it for that first kill, and so in order to be efficient with Headhunter, I need that first kill to happen, and I guess in those clutch moments, right? When I got an enemy standing in my face, we're both shieldless, out of cover. I need that to have max power to have that to either stagger or kill. But I realize that once Headhunter kicks in, it's no longer there, and that's waste, and I'm having to accept that waste, right? Otherwise, I could put in, you know, something like, which would also help. I could put in Adrenaline Rush, right? But I just know that in the clutch, I need to kill. My biggest offense is time to kill. My best defense is time to kill. And so, excuse me. So being able to one-shot that elite is that's my survivability. And so if I put on something like Adrenaline Rush and add that layer of defense, I think that's actually taken away from my survivability, because in some moments it's better just to have the enemy dead than to be able to take more bullets. Does that make sense? So anyway, so that's how I think about it, and so that doesn't leave much for you, right? So where do you go, right? What's gonna last? Well, nothing makes sense there anymore, you know. I mean, I wish you could have armor on kill as your backpack talent. The only thing that does that is clutch, but because we're not running crits, that doesn't make any sense. But I think that would be the way that I would prefer to go. I'd probably prefer to go with clutch. I mean, an armor on kill talent on my backpack, but that doesn't exist, so I don't have anything. So we just have to accept loss to some degree, which is diminishing returns off of our build, and that's going to be vigilance. And so that's why for my gun talent, and let me just flip back to that because I know that some of you guys didn't get to see that, but so here's the D50. This is what we're using, right? And so I've rolled preservation, and all of these builds, except for the shotgun one, I ran preservation because the base weapon damage is so high in combination with Headhunter giving you 1,250% raised damage that, you know, having preservation for your talent was the most efficient way to run the build. Because if I didn't, then I'd have to put survivability somewhere, armor on kill somewhere, and then I'd have to take away from basically my weapon handling to do that, right? And the weapon handling is my power. Weapon handling is my survivability, right? Because like just what I said before, like if we didn't land the shots, then you're not getting to kill. And time to kill is the greatest survivability attribute out there, right? And this is one bullet, one kill. So if the enemy's dead, they're not shooting at you, and nobody can argue that, right? So, so you have to land your shots, and so stability and accuracy are going towards the guarantees of landing that shot, right? So, and then if again, we have armor on kill, 20% armor on kill, because we're always getting a headshot kills, not always, but majority of the time. So that we're always getting armor on kill, and then if you don't land your shot, you're not getting armor on kill. So accuracy and stability ends up being the most important attribute in this game. And what's cool about it is it never goes away. So even if Headhunter procs, right, I'm always getting accuracy and handling. So that's why I chose these things. So, but vigilance goes away once I get Headhunter proc, right? Because I don't no longer need that added damage because everybody's just dying. So anyways, but there's other talents you could go with here. You can go with Optimus. You can go with a Reformation for more repair skills. That would also be okay because that would never go away also. But armor on kill is more important for me because it's instant. Now this is an instant. It's a spread over 5 seconds, but it's close as it gets, right? And it's acceptable because we are chain killing. So, and that brings me to a point, like somebody brought up the other day in a stream that, oh, this is equivalent to armor regen. Then they did the mathematics to show you that it was like something like 2% armor regen per second or whatever it was. But that's actually not true, I realized. And so I wanted to go back to that guy and mention it, but unfortunately he's not today not on the stream today. But yeah, you can't compare this with armor regen and say there's an equivalent factor if you do the mathematics there just by converting it to armor regen. And the reason why is because armor regen is based on your armor values only. And this is based on how many kills you have and your armor values. So it's both. So I get 20% armor on kill per kill. So if I get 3 kills, what am I getting? 60% armor on kill. Armor regen doesn't do that. Armor regen, if you got 1% armor regen, it's always 1% armor regen no matter how much or how many kills you have. And it's 1% of your armor, right? And so this is 20% of our armor. Also, it's 20% of our armor. But so it's way stronger than armor regen because if I need 100% armor on kill, then I just have to make 5 kills, right? And I got 100% armor on kill. And so that's why it's not like armor regen because it is based on your how many kills you have elevates it, where armor regen is stagnant. It is stagnant. The only way to increase it is by giving yourself more armor. So you can't just convert armor on kill to an armor regen equivalent. Not at all. Not at all. So and it goes that way with any armor on kill, right? So if you're running, whatchamacallit, the death grips, which give you 10% armor on kill, you kill 3 enemies, that's 30% armor on kill, right? I mean, right? You got 30% armor on kill. So instantly. And I think that he was trying to do the conversion because this is an instant. So I see the logic there. I totally understand the logic. And at first glance, it would make sense. But like, because it's over 5 seconds, 20% over 5 seconds, that's basically, you know, I think that's like equivalent to 2%. Is that what that math is? I'm not quite sure, but I think he said it was like 2%. But I see the logic there. But what happens when I get 2 kills it doubles it, and armor regen doesn't work that way, so you can't convert it to armor regen. Anyways, that's kind of a tangent, but yeah. And then also notice I'm doing, I didn't mention this earlier, but I do have the sharpshooter talent or specialization equipped with this, and that's because it's giving us 15% more stability, faster weapon faster target acquisition. Let me just show you here because I get that mixed up. 15% increased weapon stability, reduced recoil, and faster reacquisition of targets. So reduced recoil is basically also stability, right? And then you get this 15% increased headshot damage for your other weapons if you're running a rifle and a marksman, but that's not going to your pistol. And this is a pistol build. But if you're playing outside of the event, definitely rotate your weapons. I think it's to your advantage, especially between the rifle and the pistol. Like, what I would a really fun way to play is to use your rifle, right? And the rifle's got 5 rounds, so use your rifle until it exhausts its mag. Hit reload, and then switch to your pistol until you exhaust its mag. Hit reload, and then switch back and forth. So just note this though, when you switch outside of your weapon, the talent resets, okay? So if preservation is active, if you switch out of that weapon that got that kill, it will deactivate preservation. So you're gonna have to think about that when you're switching weapons. So if you need the heals, it's not a big deal if you're chain killing, not a big deal at all. I don't mind doing it at all. But if you need the heals, if you're in a moment where you're like, oh, I'm really low, then don't switch out of your weapon. I don't think many people realize that. So when preservation is active, if you switch out of the pistol, and it's spread over 5 seconds, right? So if you switch out 2 seconds later after your kill, you're not gonna get all of your heals that you intended. So, little tidbits, there's always something to know. I hope that stuff sticks with you guys. Those little knowledge nuggets. I know Mex is saying I ran the Mantis with the 1886 along with it. So I think you're the second person that did that. It let me run and gun or sit back. Yeah, that's cool. I switched to the TDI, dropping the decoy or fixer. Pretty versatile with the decoy reset. Yeah, I really like that. Actually, that's that's why I say that the Mantis is the best sniper in the game, because it synergizes with the decoy, and I think the decoy is the best skill for DPS builds. And the Mantis is a one-shot, one-kill, so that's like the best DPS in the game, right? And it's fast, right? It's got a fast bullet velocity, also hip fire, no scope timing, and so it's fast reloads, and so I feel like it plays better in short and long distance than like the Nemesis, which you have to charge up, so you're better off kind of playing deeper, or when you got a shit ton of aggro protecting you. So aggro puller. But the other thing the Mantis allows you to do is see in the dark, right? And so a lot of people love the Nemesis because it has that crazy high damage that you can get, right? But there's so few enemies that actually require that amount of damage. It's, again, just sort of kind of useless, unless you're one of those guys that is doing something like speed running Iron Horse and needs to drop the chungas that are coming out of the chain or whatever. So it's got its uses, right? But it's sort of a specialty build weapon, where the Mantis is an everyday content clearer. That's kind of the big difference. Now, of course you can do this. There's some people that are excellent marksmen with that Nemesis, and they can run it really fast, especially if they're using keyboard mouse configurations. But again, there's no automatic decoy. There's no highlighting of the heads, and that's definitely a perk when you're playing in the fog or in deep distances at night. You can actually see your target's heads glowing for you, and that's huge. That's huge. That's like an additional skill, right? It's almost like a pulse in that way. Highlights weak points. So same with when you're looking at dogs and stuff like that. Obviously, you play this game for a while, you know where the weak points are. You haven't memorized, but That was a way that I learned weak points in the beginning of the game, was when I was using the Mantis, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize that the sniper dog's weak point is the reloader. This tiny little red reloader. It's like a really small little thing, just to the right of the sniper turret, and it's really small. But if you shoot that, it disables the sniper dog with one bullet. And so the Mantis showed me that, right? Not the Nemesis. And so that's one way. And like, you know, so it shows you where to shoot on the dogs and the tanks to disable them. So it's really handy also on turrets and everything like that. And then obviously you learn it you know, maybe by happenstance or whatever, but once you know them, you know them. So, you know, I get that, but it's just that it's really helpful. It reminds you at the very least to shoot here. So yeah, good. Yeah, Mantis is a lot of fun. I actually created one, like I said earlier, for the last reanimated event, but I just hadn't had a chance to do one here, and I didn't want to hit you up. But I feel like, you know what's really good about the Mantis build, guys, like in all reality, is that it's held up through the test of time. So, you know, I run mine with like 3-piece aces and the Sawyer's knee pads, and then Araldi and Providence, and then I read Headhunter and Vigilance. So really easy to create, and I feel like that hits the hardest. That's the hardest hitting setup, but it's really consistent. That's what I like about it. It hasn't changed since basically forever. So it's reliable that way. So yeah, so I definitely recommend you guys checking that out. Nomex, welcome to Tuxedobandido supporter. Welcome to the Players Club, Tuxedobandido supporter. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for joining the community and helping the cause, supporting the cause. The Division 2 must live on, peeps. It lives on through us. It lives on through the Players Club. It lives on through Discord. Discord again, guys. I forgot to mention this. It's another way to augment the game, right? So which is to add on to the game, right? So experience the Division 2 outside of the Division 2. That's another reason why you want to get involved with the communities. If you really love this game, then, you know, support the communities, and, you know, whether you can or cannot be a Players Club member is besides the point. It's just about participation. And if you like to be around positive people and make really good friends, and if you want to join the Tux Clans too, you know, they're available. We have Tux Clan, now 3 Tux Clans on the PlayStation. We just opened another one the other day, and these fill up fast. So if you guys are on the PlayStation and you want to get involved and your clan is dying, then come over to here where our clans are thriving. And so we just opened a new Xbox clan too, another one. So that would be our 3rd Xbox clan. And these clans basically fill up in about 10 to 14 days from the day that we open them. And so we're cautious about opening up a lot of clans, so we don't want to just open them and then kind of like you know, have them fall apart later, right? Just because we don't have quality leadership. So so we are cautious, but, you know, once the waiting lists get large enough, you know, it's time for us to spread the love, make some room for you guys. So anyways, I do invite you guys to check us out. If you guys are in a Tux Clan, can you go ahead and give us a hashtag Tux Clan in the chat, so these people know who you are. We do have some of the commanders here in the feed with us today, but if you are interested, you can also find us on Discord. Latina's been dropping Discord links throughout the conversations here, so just head over there. We have the clan sections for each platform, so Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. So anyways, we are growing. Hope to see you guys over there. Oh, Stephen Flanagan, I'm glad you joined the Discord, man. Good for you. Good for you. I'm glad you did. The PC side, a bunch of really good guys are there, man. Solid core group of guys. Boston has done a really good job in building it up and maintaining a solid, you know, team on the clan side of things. And he also does a really good job on making sure. He's a PC player, obviously, but he obviously does a good job of making sure no question goes left unanswered. So really knowledgeable cat. So if you get a chance to meet Boston, BOSN, on Discord, then yeah, definitely say what's up to him. Really good guy. If you get a chance to play with him, you should too. he knows a lot about the game. Really good answers and to all the questions out there. So respectable. Patch Spike says, I'm level 78 headhunter. Can't one-shot kill. You'll get there, man. You'll get there. Daryl Luck, you finally caught a live stream from Australia. All right. Yep. I try to catch you guys' Australian hours. I think I get a little bit luckier when I drop some in the wait, let me see. You guys are about 12 hours ahead of me, I think, give or take. So yeah. Is it 6 in the morning over there? Is that what we're saying? Are you an early bird? Stephen Clinton says, not to take away from Reanimated, what is Hollywood all about? Never played it. Yeah, the unfortunate part is for me, I don't like Hollywood. What do you guys think about Hollywood event? Are we fans of Hollywood? So let's see. So Hollywood starts on Tuesday. So remember, spend your red stars, don't lose them. But Hollywood is the one where I'm trying to remember. Let me see. SHD Exposed is where you have to, bounce off cover and melee, right? Golden Bullet is just the one that makes basically every build insane. It doesn't matter which build you run. Reanimated is really good with the headshot builds, right? And then the Hollywood event, I think, is the one where they're basically invulnerable unless you pulse them, right? I think that's what it is. You have to hit them with an EMP or your specialization weapon. I think those are the two ways, or explosions. Yeah, I think those are the ways. So otherwise they're invulnerable. So that's why I don't like it. Good. So I'm glad you brought this up, man. Stephen Clinton, if you're listening. So that's why I don't like it. It's because it sort of forces you down the channel to run like very specific builds. Because if you run like a DPS build and you just put a pulse on it, then, obviously your skill haste and all that stuff and duration isn't there. So the shields will come back. And so, you're going to end up having to spec into those things. And I don't know. It's just that those types of builds are kind of fun, but like to play for a week, I don't know. That's just one of the ones that I've never really liked. Also because Reanimated and Golden Bullet, I think, are people's favorite because I think it caters to what we're really looking to do, which is I think we all have this common goal to kind of like destroy, to smash content, right? To burn through content, to go faster, to kill faster, you know what I mean? And so for loot reasons and for it's just more fun, it's more exhilarating. And so when it comes, and also as it relates to like farming red stars, right? Which is giving this name out of caches or whatever you can do with those. Now the problem with the Hollywood event is I feel like it makes the enemies tankier than they are, right? And they're invulnerable. I mean, yeah, you can still kill them, but like you literally burn through all your ammo before you do one enemy. And so it slows you down. It makes the enemies who are already crazy unkillable, right? The enemy is like crazy hard to kill as it is, right? And some people don't like this game because of how tanky the NPCs are, right? There are people that are like-minded, just like us. I'm like, why don't you play the Division 2? What's that all about? And they're like, oh, I just don't like how you can, empty a full mag into the enemy's face and they're still walking forward. Just like, yeah, they got a good damn point, right? They got a good point. And so that's why I think that, playing solo PvE is the most realistic way to play this game. Because you're just as squishy as any of the other levels, but at the same time, the enemies die a little bit faster, not a lot faster. Obviously, people say, group play is harder. Group play is hard. It's not. It's not harder. It's actually the NPCs are tankier because you tend to focus fire as a team, right? So if all 4 of you were shooting at an enemy that was rated at a solo PvE level, then just imagine how fast they would die. There'd be like, the content would be too easy, if that makes sense. It'd be too easy. 4 people shooting on one guy, he would just melt. So it's not that, and plus you got a lot more guys pulling aggro. You got guys to pick you up. in many ways, group play is actually easier, right? You can just sit back and cover and let your whole team do all the work if you wanted to. Isn't that as easy as it gets? Isn't that as easy as it gets? So I think solo PvE is the harder way to play and also the more realistic way to play, because you're just as squishy, right? Those guys are gonna hit really hard, harder. You can't just stand there and take all their fire. So it's, I don't know, that's my opinion, but also you're taking all the aggro. It's you against 50, 1 versus 50, you know, and when you're playing in group, it's basically 4 versus 50. I'm sure there's more enemies in group play, but not that much more. I haven't noticed more. So it's probably, which means it's probably a little bit more. I'm sure somebody's counted, but I haven't gone around to doing that. But when you play Hollywood, it's making these guys that are already frustrating to kill because of basically it's just kind of like, come on, man, really? I put a whole 2 mags in your face and you're still walking forward? That's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? And it makes them invulnerable, even more invulnerable than that. That's not fun, you know? So unfortunately, these are one of the events that I don't play. So I'm probably not going to do, maybe I'll do a build or 2 just to say, hey, if you are playing this, here's the one to go. But I'm not a big advocate of Hollywood, unfortunately. But so that's basically it. You basically have to run an explosive build or like a tip of spear build, your special weapon build, and then or a pulse build for the most part. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a big fan of the Hollywood event, so I tend to play it for like a couple of hours and I'm like, this sucks, I'm out of here. You're slowing me down. I could be doing better farming without you. I could be having more fun without you. It's not fun at all. It's not fun at all. Where Reanimated helps you go faster and helps you clear content faster, and you know, there's more diversity in builds there, and Golden Bullet basically works with everything. So but although Reanimated does kind of center channel you around headshot builds, you can still run assault rifle headshot builds, right? The Bighorn, Police M4, CTARs, anything that just focuses on the head. You just focus on the head. Doesn't mean you have to run a sniper build or you have to run a pistol build. Just focus on the head. That's all it's saying. And if you don't focus on the head, fine. They die, they get back up, you kill them again. You know, more XP that way. So, you know, so you don't have to. You get funneled down a certain way with that build. But does that make sense? Does that help a little bit? That's, I guess, my best description of Hollywood. Unfortunately, it's not my favorite. You might love it, though. So, you know, I don't want to get too down on it. I realize that's personal preference talking there, but that's just my perspective on it. Frank Harvey, RNGs, please drop a Virginian from a named item cache. I hear you, brother. That's how I've gotten multiple Virginians for the named item caches, probably, you know, 3 to 5 in my time. So I feel like they drop often enough. I've deleted many of them, but my triple god rolled version that I have now did come from named item cache, a triple god rolled. So, yeah. I believe the DZ vendor is selling one too this week. So if you have to have one now or you don't have one yet, then I would recommend, you know, heading over there and picking that one up. I don't think it's that great of a one, but it's a starter one. Pretty powerful anyways, so even if it's not that great, it'll probably do the job. Oscar Luke, who's got Xbox Live, anybody want to help him out? I'm on Xbox Live, just so you know. Fat Cat, be like, smash that like. What up, Fat Cat? You still snowed in there in Idaho? Yeah, we still got a little bit of snow on the ground up here in Portland, Oregon. We're up in the Northwest US. And we got a lot of snow over the new year. And, you know, we got some cold winds that froze it up a little bit. And then it started to warm up. So now we just kind of got a little bit of lingering snow. But for the most part, we got the sad rain. We're back to the sad rain. If you got kids, they probably go back to school tomorrow, huh? So, yeah, boo. Boo, if you have to go back to school. Can't we just be on like Christmas vacation forever? Wouldn't that be so much better? Which reminds me, now that we're talking about the new year again too, I wanted to again mention, in case you're coming in late, that next week, so starting on January 3rd, basically for me, I consider the week starting on Tuesdays. Because that's when the map resets, so I like to consider that the beginning of the week for the Division 2 is on Tuesdays. But so really starting Tuesday forward will be members members week, so I will be focusing a lot on the classified builds and secret builds next week, and as kind of a new year thank you for supporting the cause dedication week, I guess is what we'll call it. So and so that's basically what it is. So there'll be 3 classified builds next week, and don't worry if you're not in the Texas Players Club, I will be declassifying a couple of builds for you guys too. And of course you should be also working on all the builds that I made this week for the reanimated event, but just remember these builds do work outside of the reanimated event. You might need to make a tweak or two, you know, it's all based off of that first kill, right? So you just need to make sure you get that first kill in 3 shots or less, okay? Preferably in 2 shots or 1. So, and it just sort of obviously depends on the enemy. So there's a lot of different enemy archetypes. And so non-elites, definitely 1 shot. You need to be able to 1-shot all non-elites no matter what. And any of these builds should be able to do that right out of the gate, reanimated or not, okay? And then, so when it comes to elites, that's what I'm talking about. So elites, you should reasonably be able to take them out between 1 and 3 shots. And that's just gonna depend on what type of elite you're running up against, whether they have a helmet or not specifically. And we're talking about the first kill, but after the first kill, everybody's gonna go down in 1 shot anyway, so it doesn't matter. So that's the only tweak you may or may not have to make on the builds outside of the reanimated event if you're watching this. And so I will be putting out an actual build video for this D50 one tomorrow, so I'll be more focused on the on how it's set up and why I set it up, and kind of condense everything that we talked about today into a short 10-minute video. So hope you guys make that one tomorrow as well. Hey, Jimmy, good question. He says, what's a good build for the perfect Intimidate chess piece? I mean, the deal is, though, is that what a lot of people should know, and whether they do or not, is that the 5% extra amplified damage means a lot. More than usually anything else you could replace it with, okay? So a lot of people say, you know, for example, on the perfect Intimidate chess piece is Golan, which comes with status effects, which is useless for most run and gun builds. Right? So some people say, oh, well, I'm going to run a Grupo chess piece with Intimidate instead, the non-perfect version of Intimidate, which is going to be a difference of 5% less amplified damage, right? So that's actually going to be weaker. That's a weaker build, all right? It is. So the reality is that extra 5% amplified damage means more than anything else. Means more than Fox's Prayer, means more than Contractor's Gloves, all that extra multiplicative damage. It means more than the 12% of a mod of a crit damage, whatever. It means more than that. So, so basically, just run I guess what I'm saying is just run a regular Adrenaline Rush Intimidate with, you know, maybe like 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, and that's how you should run it. Just treat it as, you know, you're gonna get waste. Instead of it saying, treat it like this. This is the way to look at it, Jimmy Anthony. Just like this. This is the best way to describe perfect perfect Intimidate. Is that instead of it saying 10% status effects or whatever it says up there, instead of it saying that, pretend it says 5% amplified damage. Okay, just pretend that's what it says. So by running the perfect Intimidate chess piece, you're getting 5% more amplified damage. So, and then the chess piece talent, make it just assume that it says 35% amplified damage. It's a non-perfect version. So if you look at it that way, then I think that will make it more clear. Just run I would run either a shotgun or an SMG build are typically run with that. You could also do an assault rifle, like a chameleon build with it. But yeah, just treat it just like it's best in slot for Intimidate builds. But I realize that status effects is really just going to waste. But the good news is that actually, if you run it with Hunter's Fury, then you can actually make use out of that status effects talent also on top of that as an added bonus. Because when you kill a target with Hunter's Fury, they all get disorientated, and that status effects is going to make them disorientated longer, which means you can kill more of them under status effect, right? Or you can reload while they're under status effect or whatever. So, and also if you're using the Banshee Pulse, because you're probably going to be running Gunner with that for 10% more armor and kill, also for the extra ammo, so you don't have ammo issues, then the Banshee Pulse is going to benefit from that more status effects also. So anyways, so my recommendation would be to run a 4-piece Hunter's Fury, Adrenaline Rush, and Intimidate. Now, when I run Intimidate, I don't like running it with the Memento. I feel like it makes it way more situational because the trophies come one at a time, right? And so you're probably not going to be running a lot of armor with your. I mean, I don't usually no more than 1.1 million, maybe even less. And so that means you're not going to be getting a lot of bonus armor from the mementos. And when you do get a lot of bonus armor, it's real situational. Like when all the enemies are standing right in front of you and you kill 10 at a time or whatever. But that doesn't help it happen all the time. You're usually killing like 2 or 3 at a time, right? They're usually clumped up 2 or 3 at a time. Or you're chasing one around at a time like I am here. And so that's not going to help you. Your mementos bonus armor is going to wear off before you even get to the enemy, or they're going to shoot it off of you, right? Because it's just not much bonus armor, and it only lasts for 5 seconds with Memento. So I don't like running Memento with Intimidate. It makes Intimidate inactive, basically. It doesn't make it very useful. So I personally like Adrenaline Rush, because with the way I look at these run and gun builds, it's the first kill that matters the most. It's always the first kill that matters the most, not the subsequent kills, right? So you got to kill that first kill. You got to get that first kill to disorient the entire group, right? And so when they're disorientated, they're vulnerable. They're basically like sitting ducks. But if you don't get that first kill, then they're all shooting at you and you're blah blah blah, right? You're not going to get that armor on kill if you were relying on something like a Memento trophy or Bloodsucker. So Bloodsucker can work, but what ends up happening is like, it resets all the time, right? And so does Adrenaline Rush. Adrenaline Rush resets too, but it's only for a few seconds and it's back. So for the same enemy, you can have Adrenaline Rush coming back and back, going away, going back, going away, back, going away. So I found Adrenaline Rush gives you way more survivability than any of the others, even though the others can exceed the total amount that Adrenaline Rush can give you, but they're way more. They add situational things to them, Bloodsucker, I think, is good for when you're playing at medium distances and not relying on Intimidate, and you're just looking for bonus armor. That's I think where Bloodsucker comes in handy. Otherwise, you're only using it for those rampage, bloodthirsty kill streaks you go on, and then after that it times out, and then you're kind of starting over from scratch. Where Adrenaline Rush kicks in constantly for you. It's there when you need it, basically. So. Anyways, I hope that helps, Jamie. Good question. Good question. Actually, good topic, because I'm not sure everybody thinks about Perfect Intimidate that way. But yeah, so just pretend for the most part it's just like, oh, it's an added. The brand talent for Perfect Intimidate is 5% amplified damage, and then you got the Intimidate 35% amplified damage. But either way, you're getting status effects are working to your benefit for a Hunter's Fury build. Otherwise, I don't play into the status effects too much. Besides, they're there and they save my butt just as they are by default. So, Ratchet 730, thanks for the birthday wishes and New Year's wishes, man. Yeah, I did have a really good one, bro. Really relaxing. It was my birthday. It was my daughter's birthday, both on New Year's Eve. So we did a family thing, dinner, presents, cake, the whole gambit. So yeah, it was nice. Nice and relaxing. COVID days though, not like they used to be, no big balls. We didn't go to the big night ball, whatever you call it, party thing, so we kind of avoided that this year, gladly. Andreas, yo Tux, loving the builds, buddy. Thought about using the chill out for a headshot build. I have. The catch there, Andreas, is just like from the surface, is thinking about it at a high level. I think it would be really hard to create one that would make sense because, like we said earlier, or I don't know if you've caught my live streams on the chill out mask where I focus on which builds kind of make sense for it. But It's definitely situational on whether it's going to be best in slot for the mask. And on headshot builds, I don't think it is, because there's always the punch drunk mask that you can wear. Actually, let me show you here. Like I'm wearing right here, right? So this punch drunk mask is gonna gives you 20%, even if you're not running a pistol, right? Even if you're not running a pistol, but in total, with the punch drunk mask, you can have 30% headshot damage. Let's see if I have. Let's see if I have a chill out mouse. Here's a chill out mouse. So if we just pretend that we only have 3 slots available with the chill out mask, right? So basically you can have, instead of armor regen, it would have 10% headshot damage, and then the other 2 slots we could mod out with more headshot damage, right? But in the end, we're only going to end up with yeah, so you can see that. So we'll end up with 30% headshot damage, right? So, which is fine. So you can say, okay, well, they're equal, but they're not. They're not equal. And the reason why they're not equal is because the punch drunk mask also gives you pistol damage. You might as well take it, right? Even if you're not planning on using your pistol, you might as well take the extra pistol damage in case you need it. Does that make sense? And so that's why I'm not sure a headshot damage one would make sense. That's one of the ones where the chill out wouldn't necessarily make sense, because you always have the punch drunk to replace it. Also, if you were running, I don't think I have an Araldi, but if you had Araldi available, like you, excuse me, if you weren't running Araldi or even Providence elsewhere, then they would also outperform on the headshot in the mask area. They would give you more headshot damage than the chill out mask. So that's one of the cases where the chill out mask doesn't actually work, because you have better pieces for that slot. But really good question. Really good question. Andrea is talking about Hollywood event. Does Spotter and Link Laser Pointer work on that event? I don't know. It's got to be an EMP pulse for Hollywood, is what he's talking about. The EMP pulse has to. It's good. You got to disrupt them basically. So it's got to be the EMP pulse or the EMP sticky. So one of those two. You got to disrupt the shield. But good question. I don't think that's. It's intuitive that way. So that's a really good question. Oh, that's a good idea. So you get the idea, you know, talking about intimidate, galvanize with intimidate is all using the Scorpio. That's a great idea. Yeah, because the Scorpio would basically, you know, every, what is it, third and fifth shot would give a status effect. I think it's every third and fifth, which gives you galvanize. Yeah, and galvanize, what's cool about galvanize is that it's basically on-demand bonus armor, so I like that. And it's also, it doesn't require distance to get that bonus armor. You know, you can get that bonus armor at whatever distance, which isn't going to help intimidate, because intimidate, you know, needs to be within 10 meters. But you believe it or not, a lot of enemies kind of play between that 10 to 20 meters. That's kind of their sweet spot. Really, it's 15 to 20, really. So you really have to chase enemies down to get them inside that 10 meters. You really do. Because when you push up on them, they like to kind of fall back on you. So, yeah, that's what I think. But yeah, you know, I used to love intimidate, and I used to use it a lot, and you know, especially with my SMG builds, and I run a gun a lot. It actually makes sense with these builds too. Like, you can run intimidate with this build. I just like the guaranteed one shot, one kill that Headhunter gives. So that's, but it's obviously, you know, requires you getting headshots. So if you're really against headshots, then yeah, intimidate would be the other way to go. It's just, you know, different. just different. It's just different. But CD Stanley, hey, I finally caught a live stream. I love your videos and builds. I'm new to the channel. Oh, welcome, CD. I'm glad you made it, man. Where are you from? Are you from the US, you know, West Coast, East Coast? What city you're at? Let us know. I always like to hear where you know folks are from, as well as those guys that are catching the streams for the first time. I try to gauge the audience and time zones and stuff like that so I can accommodate as best as I can. You know, I'm trying to get more and more live streams throughout the week. If I can do one daily, then I will, and that's ultimately my goal. So, but you know, daily is probably not realistic. It'll probably end up being more like 5 a week or something like that. But I like doing the whole put out a build and then doing the live stream right after. That I really feel like that's cool because that way I can showcase more gameplay, and then we can kind of talk about some of the pieces and have a discussion around it versus just show and tell. Any specific backpack, Jimmy? I was asking. So if you're running, depends. Let's see. What did you say? Perfect Intimidator, all blue, 4-piece hunter backpack with general Russian specific brand backpack. I mean, I would assume a Grupo backpack, because I'm guessing you're gonna fill in the blanks with some crits. But if you're not gonna fill in the blanks with if you're not gonna fill in the blanks with crits because maybe you're using a shotgun build and you're gonna go base it more off of raw weapon damage and amplified damage, which is excellent, by the way. It's a smart way to create your shotgun builds. I like crit shotgun builds too, but usually not with Hunter's Fury, because Hunter's Fury doesn't actually cater to crits, right? There's not enough slots to get enough crits in there to make a big impact on the build. You're better off working off of your amplified damage, which is the best type of damage in the game, in my opinion. So, anyways, you're lacking a lot of slots. It's not like Negotiator's Dilemma, which really encourages crits, right? Now, if you're running an SMG, then yeah, go crits and then go Grupo. But if you're running a shotgun, then look at either, you'd probably be better off with the Badger Tough backpack. Or yeah, Badger Tough, because you're only going to have one extra slot, right? So yeah, go Badger Tough, then you're working off of raw damage. So good question. 40-piece nuggets. Funny name, man. Where do you guys come up with these? 40-piece nuggets, low key as a new player, grinding for builds is tough solo. Are you 40-piece? Do you have Warlords in New York yet? Have you gotten there? Have you gotten your watch yet? Have you gotten past your watch? Game really opens up once you do there. Oh, and what platform are you on? You really should. I'm gonna do a poll for you guys here in this. Now this is coming up, but let me get it out there and give me a second here. Let me get it out there and then we'll talk about it, okay? Okay, so this is you just kind of bring something to mind, but I just put out a poll. If you guys can answer it, that'd be great. But do you consider yourself a solo player? Now, I'm not talking about do you ever group up or not. That's not the question, okay? That's not the question. Do you ever group up or not? Are you part of a clan or not? These aren't the questions. The question is, do you consider yourself a solo player, right? Now, there are guys in this game, like many of my friends, many of the guys in my clan, as a matter of fact, they don't play unless they're grouping up. That's it. They do not play. So they log into the game, and then the first thing they do is they see who's online, and then they see what they're up to, and then they group up. And if there's nobody online, they leave and they'll go play another game. So that's why it's a, and so a solo player, if you're solo, I mean, I think we all have a little bit different definitions of a solo player, but the point is like, do you consider yourself a solo player? And that's the question, is not whether you group up at all or anything like that, because solo players group up to complete different types of content or when they just get bored or whatever. But we're talking like the majority of the time you find yourself playing solo, you enjoy, clearing content on your own, maybe putting on your jams and getting into the zone, and or maybe you're at work all day and whatever, and you come home or whatever to play games, or you're retired or whatever, and when you play games, it's sort of to escape the rest of the noise of the world that it provides you, right? That's why a lot of people play games, right? They play games because they're trying to sort of take a break from what the world has to offer or take away from you, whatever, right? And so sometimes that means like you don't want to get on the comms and chat it up with people and talk about anything really. You want to listen to your music and you want to get in the game, right? Whatever you call yourself. But the point is, do you consider yourself a solo player or do you consider yourself a group player? Because a lot of people play video games for the opposite of what I just described. They play it for the social aspect of what games bring. Now, that didn't used to be there. Like, so if you've been playing video games for a long time, that's relatively new. The whole Xbox Live and being able to chat and to group up and God, I mean, what games really brought that? I mean, there was always multiplayer, but there was local, right? So multiplayer was local. Your buddy had to be at your house, and you'd have to have 2 controllers, and then there came networking. So as long as we're all on the same server, right? And then PC players have had the capability for a lot longer because they were able to do that, accomplish that more. And then consoles integrated it into the software, and that's what really opened it up, right? So Xbox Live, basically, and we started to see it more. I feel like the game that pops out for me that really stood out as far as that group multiplayer mode for me was I want to say Gears of War, funny enough. Now it might have been Halo that really brought it, but I remember Halo is like Halo brought in a group play, but it was mostly like battle scenarios, right? Like 5 versus 5 or whatever, right? Capture the flag or whatever. It was kind of that thing. But what Gears of War for me brought, it might not have been first, but it was the first one that really pops up in my head, is my first real like, wow, this is cool experience, was that Gears of War brought that cooperative play. And that's basically what we do in PvE. It's cooperative play. We're homies, we're friends, right? And the Division tried to do something different by coming up with the Dark Zone. They're kind of trying to mesh cooperative play with PvP. That's a kind of a mesh, like, because you could go in there and clear what do you call them, like the sites, right? I'm drawing a blank here on the word for it, but landmarks. You can clear landmarks, right, as a squad cooperatively. And then at the same time, you can go rogue and shoot your homie in the back and steal his gear, right? And so it's kind of, they try to bring both of it together, and whether it works or not is a whole nother conversation. But the point is that Gears of War, brought in that cooperative play, and that made it, that's kind of a playing with allies is really fun, right? And it's another way to expand how this game performs for you, right? But I guess what I'm saying is that I consider myself a solo PvE player in the Division. I love campaign modes in all the games. I like the ambiance that it's created, the environment, and everything that brings. And so, and I like the zone. I love to, I hate wearing headphones when I don't have to. I love turning on my surround sound, turning up my music. And I like putting on a playlist that kind of gets me in the zone, helps me basically kill better, because I'm basically like killing to this beats per minute that the music brings, and that's why for you hardcore Bandito members, I create music playlists that have a beats per minute that makes sense for the pace of the build. So I don't know if you guys realize that yet. I don't know. So if you guys are in the Players Club, especially for your hardcore Bandito member levels, I don't know if you've picked up on that, but for the playlists that I create, the music playlists that you can both stream, so you can stream these playlists on YouTube, and it's got a really cool kind of mesmerizing video that plays with the music. But you can also download the soundtracks on SoundCloud. So for free, and of course it's all for free if you're a hardcore Bandito member level. So anyways, but these playlists are configured to match the pace of the builds that I deliver you, right? And I kind of tend to, obviously you can play any of my builds the way you want to. So I might give you a fast-paced run and gun out of cover build, but you don't have to play it out of cover. You can play from cover and bounce from cover to cover, whatever. But either way, they kill at a fast pace. And so the videos, the playlist, music playlists I give you kind of help you get in the zone. They help me get in the zone, so I hope they help you get in the zone and basically focus. They help you focus and not be distracted by other things and kind of get you in the zone so that you can go on these bloodthirsty killing streaks. And so, I don't know, it's just a way to augment the game. I think music can really help your gaming. And that's why I like being a solo player, is because I don't have much, you know, I mean, I enjoy the social aspects of the game and I use it because, you know, of course I'm part of a clan and I love my clan mates and I have my regular guys that I play with a lot or whatever, but I spend the most of my time doing solo PvE, also because I'm working on builds for you guys, so that obviously influences it a lot because, you know, when I'm configuring, like this build that I'm working on now, guys, like, I mean, this pistol build, like, I probably fast traveled back and forth to the White House over a dozen times, okay? Over a dozen times as I'm configuring it. And part of it is because I would die, right? Like I'd fight and I would die. I'm like, okay, it's not working. I shouldn't be dying so much, you know? Like something's wrong. What is it? Okay, I'm missing more shots. So, and I tried, you know, adding more armor on kill or whatever. So anyways, I'm always fast traveling back and forth, and that's annoying when you're playing with the team, you know, or whatever. So I need to, and also I'm farming red stars. I need to go faster. Teams slow you down. You're always waiting for somebody. They're at the White House configuring something or whatever, and you're like, well, okay, you're making the content harder for me, but you're not here to help fight it. So, you know, I'd be better off running solo. So there's that. So, you know, but I love doing my legendaries and raids and stuff like that in the team effort, obviously. I love doing legendary solo. That adds a new environment. And I love doing challenges with teams. So, you know, I guess my point is this, is that this is the point that I wanted to get to, and somebody was kind of bringing it to mind, is that even if you're a solo player, it's important, I think, that you, now more than ever, okay, is that you start looking and find your community in this game. And that starts with, and it can start and end with your clan, right? But even within your clan, what's going to happen is you're going to find, I mean, like all 50 guys in your clan aren't going to be your community that you're going to hook up with. What's going to happen is that you're going to find like 2 or 3 guys that you'll consider your regulars, the guys that you hook up with on maybe even a daily basis or every couple of days, whatever. And those are going to be your homies, but they're going to ensure that you enjoy this game and that it doesn't run dry for you, right? Because it's going to open up your experience in the game. And so you got to mix it up, I guess is what I'm saying. If you want to get the most out of this game to experience everything, it's going to open up the raids for you. It's going to open up legendaries for you. Because, I mean, you can't do solo legendaries forever, right? Yeah, so it's going to open up a lot of content for you, right? Things that you, the global events, some of them, like Hollywood, to be honest with you, like the Hollywood event, I don't enjoy it, but definitely wouldn't run it solo. It'd be so boring to run it solo. That's one of the events. Like Reanimated, I run solo all the time. I prefer to run Reanimated solo. Same with Golden Bullet. But Golden Bullet's just as fun as group, but Reanimated, I prefer to run it solo because I want every kill to be my kill. I don't want to share my kills, you know what I mean? Because I want that headshot XP. That headshot's giving me more XP. So, anyways, so I feel like, I guess my point is that even if you consider yourself a solo player, I do too, and I want to share that with you. I want to open up with you guys about that. Like, I play with my group. I have 3 clans on every platform, right? And I try to spread the love and play with as many people as I can. Obviously, I'm on the Xbox. So I don't play with the PC and PlayStation guys because I don't have characters over there. But that's it. But my point is that I try to play with the group because it does provide a different experience that I wouldn't have if I was just playing solo. It also allows me to access different content, create builds for raids, enjoy the raids. It allows you to get those special weapons, right? And just have fun and have good conversations and friends. I mean, I have real friends in this game, like real friends, like not like dudes that like I have their phone number. We text each other and stuff like that outside of the game, and I use the Xbox app and we have conversations outside of the game on the Xbox app, right? And stuff like that. So, but that's augmenting the Division 2. Again, that's, if you love this game, you need to, that's part of finding your community to make sure that this game never ends for you. And I think, and you know, I mentioned earlier, it's because we need to divorce ourselves a little bit from the devs on whether we have fun or not. Should not be so reliant on the devs. I think that always ends up being more of a disappointment than otherwise, right? In any game you're playing, I think if you rely on the devs, then you're gonna be disappointed more than not. So, but beyond that, I guess the point is that it ensures that the game, that you get the most, that you create more experiences as part of this game, right? And that you augment it, and that you can potentially make it something that you enjoy outside of the game itself too, right? By going to Discord, right, and talking shop, or going and learning about new builds. And I mean, the fact that you're here with me on YouTube is my point. You are augmenting your Division 2 experience right now because you love the Division that much. And so that is my point. You're making my point. You're here, and so that's my point. Case in point. Shit, what am I talking about? You guys are here. You proved it. So the fact that you're here just means that you love the Division 2 so much that you're willing to dedicate time outside of your platform itself. So outside of the PC gaming platform, outside of the Xbox, outside of the PlayStation, you're coming out of that to get more out of the Division 2 from the YouTube platform, right? That's where we are. And so that's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say you're augmenting your experience. You're adding to your Division 2 experience, because we're talking shop, we're talking about game politics, we're talking about builds, we're talking about everything, right? Community. So, you know, and so that's, again, all of that is augmenting your Division 2 experience. And so that's what I mean. And so there's more of that for you. And so let's see what this poll says, because I think it's important, and I'm going to release it. So thank you for everybody who answered. And it looks like we got a lot of votes. So I'm going to end the poll right now so we can talk about it. So give it a second, and it should show up on your end now. Okay, so let me scroll down, and if you made comments, I will get back to you. So I am trying to get to everybody's comments, just so you know. So, do you consider yourself a solo player? 80% of you said yes. 20% of you said no. Now, not everybody voted, but that's a lot of votes. That's for about 45 people that voted there. So that's a considerable number. That's about half of you guys. So, and it's just a sample size, right? And I think that's an accurate sample. So people, I get these comments a lot. People always say, hey dude, when are you gonna do PvP builds? Do more PvP builds. Well, this is a perfect example of why I don't do PvP builds. It's not because I don't personally enjoy PvP, and I don't on the Division 2. I don't think it's that fun. But that's me, I'm sorry. But and it's not because I want to ignore that community, but it's just that I have 80% of the community doesn't consider themselves group players, and group players play PvP, right? That's a PvP category. Group play is a part of PvP. But even group players are just group up and whatever. And that's also a reason why I think that it's smarter for me to show you these solo PvE builds, because 80% of you consider yourself solo PvE, right? Now, and that's what we're saying here. And also, what your numbers are saying is that, you know, or what you might be wondering is, like, I do all these solo legendaries. Well, one is I get it, like, if solo legendary is not your thing, because it takes a lot of patience and persistence and perseverance to actually complete a solo legendary. But I do encourage you, if you're there to do it, it opened up a whole nother world for me. I mean, honestly, like, this game, maybe, like, if I didn't have the solo legendary thing, I mean, that's really a challenge. I mean, let me tell you this: if you're a raider, if you do raids, easy peasy. Raids are easy peasy. A solo legendary guy can do raids in their sleep. Raids are really easy. Raids are so easy compared to even group legendary. Group legendaries are so much more difficult than raids. You know, the only thing difference is in there's mechanics in raids, and you got to know the mechanics. But once you do, it's just like, okay, everybody on your generators, shoot the vent, hawk a grenade, shoot the weak points, tuck and roll, shoot the chunga, start over. It's just about memorizing the sequence, and anything about the raid is just about memorizing the sequence. And then you always got the new guy you're teaching, right? So I'm not downplaying the raids. What I'm saying is that legendary is really hard. Solo legendary is very hard. The reason why I do solo legendary in my videos is because when a build is strong enough to do solo legendary, I'm showing you that. That's what I'm showing you. It's not it's not so much about doing solo legendary, but if you're there, I encourage you to do it because it's like playing hardcore mode. But what I'm trying to show you is that, yeah, this build is so strong you can solo legendary with it. Not that you would if you're not a, you know, most people don't do solo legendary, so I get that. But you can. So if you can solo legendary with it, then yes, it is strong enough to do group legendary because it doesn't legendary doesn't scale unless you're in the summit. And so if you can solo legendary with it, then yes, it's strong enough for group heroic also. And so that's why it's important for me to show you solo legendary, because I'm showing you that it's the strongest, one of the strongest builds in the game. You know what I mean? And balanced, strong and balanced, right? Because for me, it's also about having survivability in most of my legendary builds. So anyways, tangent. But my point is that I consider myself a solo player too, you know, but I still augment my experience by joining and having my community to rely on, right? Because you need to be able to get out there and also to get all those exclusive weapons and stuff like that. But you know, to have your friends and to group up and to mix it up, you know, but also to learn something. You know, you guys learn something from each other. We talk builds on Discord, and so that's part of a community. So, but even if it's not about grouping up, so if it's not about clanning up or whatever, I mean, you don't have to if you don't care about getting those raid weapons and stuff like that, or doing legendaries in group, then you don't have to. That's fine. Then your community should be Discord, right? I mean, if 80% of you here are solo players, then 80% of my Discord is solo players, guaranteed. And you know why? Because 80% of the entire Division 2 community is solo players. These stats are not a surprise to me. You know, these stats are not a surprise to me. These stats are typical of the Division 2. So, and so we always know that, and that's why my strategy and for my channel has always been around PvE for the most part, because I know that the majority of you guys consider yourself solo players and spend actually about 80% of your time doing heroic control points as well. It's because there's a lot more dynamics. I will be going through the build one more time in just a few moments. Alex, I do see that you're asking about the build, so I'll get to that in just a moment. So thanks for asking again. And of course, we did show the build in the very beginning multiple times too. So. And the actual build video for this build will be tomorrow, so look forward to that. I will be doing a more condensed, you know, as in my typical fashion, 10 to 12 minute build video on this build. So, okay, I'm gonna make sure, but let me make sure I get to you guys' questions. I want to get these answered. Let's see. So scrolling back up here. So give me a moment to read these. Merkeva one, really good question. Merkeva one. So it asks, this is a really good question. This is an awesome question, and it's made just for Tux. So, so I'm gonna answer this one. He goes, is there any reason to wear more armor in PvE legendary? Content seems like they can just one-shot all your armor, even the red bar enemies. Yeah, and that's a really, really good question. The reason why is because I basically preach about that in almost any of my build videos, and you guys probably hear me say it. It's not about how much armor you have, it's about how fast you recover from damage. So what I have found in legendary specifically, okay, so just addressing your question very specifically, is that when it comes to legendary, I found the most important thing is your time to kill. When it comes to survivability, your time to kill doesn't matter if you're wearing 2 million armor or 1 million armor or 700,000 armor. They're gonna clear your armor at the same pace, really fast, right? And so if you pump your armor up to 2 million, okay, and if you don't put any recovery in there, like armor regen or repair skills or whatever, then it doesn't matter. You're gonna have to use that armor kit anyways, and you didn't add. And as soon as you fill your armor up back again, they're gonna take it right off right away again. So if you want survivability in the Division 2, especially in Legendary, you need to have fast recovery to keep yourself in the fight. Because if you don't, then you might end up playing more timidly, right? You're gonna have to pick more of your shots. You're gonna have to stay in cover longer because you can't. You're running out of med kits, or you're not recovering, or you can't take the damage, or whatever. But and so besides that, so there's two really important things. You have to have recovery, and if you're not, then you're gonna have to have a time to kill that and a crowd control element to your build, basically, that will allow you to not worry about your recovery. So negotiators builds, basically any negotiator build for legendary, you don't need any armor on kill or armor. Just go in all red. You can even run perfect glass cannon with your negotiators build, and it's more about choosing a nice piece of cover. But yeah, so the short answer is, no. Armor is the least of your worries in legendary. What you need to be focused on in legendary is time to kill. And then from there, if you want to add more survivability, then you look at armor regeneration or repair skills, and then from there, armor on kill. Now, I didn't say armor on kill first for legendary, because the time to kill is longer on legendaries, not just because it has nothing to do with your DPS. It has to do with the enemies and how they basically their strategy, the AI. They come to you, they run away, they flank you, they run away, they stay in cover a lot, they play in cover a lot, so you can't even shoot them, right? So that's why armor on kill is last. Because you take more damage than you're able to kill, and so the only build that lets you get around that is negotiators. And so, when you see somebody putting out a negotiators build, I'm not that impressed. I'm not that impressed with my own negotiators builds, because negotiators is such a specific, it does what it does, and it does it really well. And so you can put it with any weapon, it doesn't really matter. It's nothing new for me. It's like pair it up with an LMG, the Pestilence, the Police M4, the FAMAS, the CTAR, the Backfire, whatever. The Negotiator's Dilemma set does what it does. It doesn't matter what weapon you put on it. It's gonna do the same thing, which is clear entire waves of enemies. So anyways, if you're new to legendary, I recommend starting there. I recommend starting with a Negotiator's Dilemma build with an assault rifle, and I run it with the 30x scope. Look for a build called Dynamic Duo, where me and one other guy complete District Union Arena together. And we use 2 crowd control builds, and I consider Negotiator's Dilemma a crowd control build because it thins the herd, right? And so it's a DPS crowd control build. So it's not a crowd control build in the traditional sense, like an Eclipse build or my Max Blind build. But we use Max Blind and Negotiator's Dilemma, and together, you could just own that content, just own it really easy. So anyways, really good question. So I think you started to you're making, that's exactly how you should think, and how that question kind of arose in your mind. That's how you should think. But like, does it even make sense to have armor? They're just cleaning my clock. Great question. You realized it, And so, if you could take that way of thinking to all of your builds, it really opens up your mind on synergies, right? And adapting your build to different types of content and different play styles and whatever. But yeah, it's a really good question, and I hope that helped answer. And again, the short story is no, it's not about armor, it's about how fast you recover. But more importantly, it starts with time to kill. Start there. And your average DPS builds, unless you're playing to be a tank. If you're gonna be a tank, then it is what it is. But yeah, so start with your DPS, get your time to kill where it needs to be, and then once it's there, then you start worrying about your survivability, because time to kill is your biggest piece of survivability. So you're getting a handle on it there. And so if you want more survivability, then you add armor regen or repair skills, or armor on kill too, if you feel confident with how you play. So. Shenkuo, Phoenix. Shenkuo. Am I saying your name right? Shenkuo. I kind of like that. It's got a nice little ring to it. Shenkuo Phoenix. Just came across your page recently. Great content. I'm making a comeback to the division. All right. Glad to hear that. I'm still under 1,000 on my SHD watch, so I got a lot of work to do. Happy New Year. Yeah, I think that's a good goal, though, to get your watch up there. And I'm going to be doing... Division 2 2022 video on whether you should be playing the Division 2 in 2022. And and then kind of go into some details to help you guys that are new or returning players decide if this game is for you. Part of that is there actually another game out there for you to play. Like, I mean, I'm a Battlefield fan, but you know, I go over to Battlefield and, you know, I like it, but it's not the Division 2. Division 2 is very unique. But what do we have in store in 2022? And is that enough to get you coming back or playing the duration, you know? And yeah, so I'm gonna cover that here in the next couple of weeks. So look forward to that. I think that will help you. But for the meantime, yeah, I'd say as any new or returning player, your first goal should be to get your watch to 1,000. A lot of these builds are created with the assumption that your watch, that you're gonna be at the 1,000 level. But if not, then you have to compensate, right? You have to find ways to get your crit chance or crit damage up or whatever. But if you don't have that there, then and then also your armor and your weapon damage and all that other stuff. And so realize that you're not going to be able to play as much out of cover. I mean, you can just you know, there's a lot goes into playing out of cover besides the build, your skills, right? But it does help having more weapon damage and more armor on your build, and your watch gives that to you. But yeah, so welcome back. I'm glad you found the channel. Glad to have you. But I hope you find us over at Discord too. You should check it out. Good people, good place. What platform are you on also? Let us know. Make friends. You guys should be making friends with each other. So feel free to share your gamer tags. I believe like this is a safe place to do that if you're looking to group up with people or maybe even start your own clan or whatever. But if you're looking for the clan to kick it with, you're welcome to join the Tux clans. Again, like I said, we just opened a brand new the third Xbox clan as well as the third PlayStation clan. So there are slots open, but they do go quickly. We do tend to fill these up in a couple of weeks, less than 10 days, 10 to 14 days. So that's been our average there. So, but yeah, we'd love to have you if you guys are interested. You can just ping somebody here. Just let us know in the comments if you're interested, or you can head over to our Discord, which is the easiest place. You should be over there anyways. Dave Cortez. I don't want to be a solo player. Somebody help me. I know. Well, one of the other things is like sometimes I get comments where people will go to like the summit and they'll say I try to group up, or you'll sit in the legendary and you're kind of waiting, you know, for a team to show up, and maybe it's taking longer than you would prefer. But if you were part of a clan, or if you had a really solid friends list, even if you weren't part of a clan, or if you're even part of Discord, right, then you can avoid all of that. So we have Discord group up, Xbox group up, PlayStation channels, right? So you can go there and be like, hey, anybody down to do a raid or to do legendaries, let me know. Here's my gamer tag, you know. And people, that's how you make friends, using Discord too. So outside of the game. And so what's really cool is you can set it up before you even come into the game, which is also an added benefit, right? You can, because Discord you can access from your phone or your computer. So even if you're not in the game, you're like, hey, does anybody want to play this? And they'll be like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll hook up with you in 30 minutes. And then you go down to your system and log in, right? So it's nice to get set up. And then that way you can make more efficient time, because some people only have a couple hours to play the game, right? And that's it, right? You got family and work or whatever. So if you don't got all time in the day to stand there waiting for a group up scenario to kick in for you, then that's where Discord comes in handy as well as the Xbox app, of course. But Discord allows you to get connected with like-minded people in the Division 2 that aren't on your friends list, where the Xbox app, they have to be on your friends list mostly, right? So yeah, again, just go to Discord app and then just go into the Xbox channel or PlayStation channel, whatever. And they're called group up channels if you're looking to group up with people. And that can be more efficient in times where the game is kind of at a lull, where it's hard to group up with people. And I've heard people complaining about that from time to time. The game comes in highs and lows just like any other game, right? Night, Andreas, thank you for kicking it with us, bud. It's 3 a.m. in the UK. Ooh. Yeah, we're getting close to our end time, guys. Gear. I'm just trying to make sure I get to all of your questions, so. Calvin Bowser, welcome to the Discord. I'm glad you joined, man. Good for you. Glad to have you. Hope to see you on that side. And remember that we have the members only section. So just knock on there and go into the lobby of the Players Club members only section, and the admin will let you in. So because I see you're in the Players Club too. You're on both, Calvin, you're on both councils. You're a crazy person. I can't imagine like opening up a second character on the other. I mean, all the gear and the build, you know what I mean? You have to grind for that stuff. And so it's, you know, that's put in work, man. You're crazy. Crazy. Okay, I'm gonna get into the build in just a second, but I'm just scanning through these questions here real quick. Steven Johnson says, I solo in the DZ all the time. Yeah, I've done that a few times. It's been a while since I've done it, but it can be a little bit of frustrating. It can be frustrating when you get jumped by 3 or 4 guys. It's just like, oh, makes you feel like you suck. Now, some guys do a really good job on holding their own. I just don't go in there enough to create those solo DZ builds a lot. But like the other day I did with the, I went in there with a perfect glass cannon sacrifice build using the Nemesis. I'm not that good with the Nemesis, but it was kind of fun to one-tap rogues as they were kind of running by. But there's some frustrating mechanics in there, mostly about the spawning. I don't like the spawning. That's like my biggest thing that I hate about PvP in the Division 2 is the spawning. You spawn in the same place the rogue agents are spawning, and so as you're running back, they go rogue and shoot you in the back. It's just like, that's stupid. And then they feel like they got big dicks because of it. It's just like dumb. You know? Oh, cool. So you shot me in the back as I was coming out of the spawn. That's like, yeah, I'm glad you feel cool. You know, so I just don't like that about the game. I feel like they should be tagged as somebody who's been going rogue. Because I mean, I have a hard time remembering everybody's names, right? Because there's so many different people going rogue and whatever. So I mean, how are you supposed to remember everybody's name? You know? I'm not taking fucking notes. I'm not gonna look at my notepad as I'm running down the street and say, hey, did he go rogue? You know? Yeah, but Calvin, to your point, yeah, solo legendary is so effing hard, he says, but it's fulfilling. Also, just a challenge alone keeps me dedicated to one day I will solo 100% one day. Yeah, totally. I mean, trust me, it's not something that you just do one day and you complete it, you know, on your first try. No way, you know. The worst is when you get like all the way to the end and you die just before you get to the boss, and you're like, holy shit, that just happened. That sucks. But yeah, you know, it's just about a lot of it's just like anything. It's just like the raids in the sense where the mechanics don't change, so you just have to memorize the mechanics. And the mechanics in a legendary are basically, you know, the spawn times and what triggers the spawns, because things trigger a spawn, right? If I kill this particular enemy, then the spawn will happen. So if I don't want that to happen, then I don't want to kill that enemy. So it is basically positioning and target priority and skill management. And then it's your build. Those are the things that are important about legendary. Basically, situational awareness kind of encompasses all of that. So to some degree, so you know, that's what it is. But a lot of target priority, skill management. Skill management's a big deal. Like if you're using a turret or a decoy or something like that, you don't want those to be on cooldown when a new spawn happens. And so that's where target priorities are important, and positioning is important because you need to know where to be, and you don't want to kill the wrong guy to set off the next wave until your skills are ready. So, or you need to deconstruct your skill early and make sure it's ready to go for the next spawn, whatever. So yeah, you know, I try to give pointers when I show those in-depth footage, which I think the latest one was for members only. I think I showed you, I did a walkthrough on that 45% armor on kill build. That was a pretty fun build, actually. 45% armor on kill, 6 skill tier build. That's a members only build. Oh, I should do my plug, my shameless plug. So if you guys didn't know, classified builds are secret builds made just for Texas Players Club, true and hardcore Bandito member levels. And these are extra builds that make as a thank you for supporting me in the community, because that's what I do. I build and support the community. So if you want to tap into these secret builds, you can get access today by making sure at least a true Bandito member level. Click the join button. I'll drop a link. And these links are always in my description areas too. Okay, so I think I got to everybody's question, but if you do have whether you feel it's important, then make sure that you drop your question with the word question. And Steven's got one here. So I'm going to answer Steven Johnson's question, and then I'm going to jump into the build. So Steven Johnson, question. Tux, when running glass cannon or perfect glass cannon, how do you deal with fire damage? Run. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, yeah, I don't have a good answer for you, Steven. You're talking about hazard protection, basically, right? You know, you either run, the way I look at hazard protection, you either run hazard protection or you don't. And what I mean is like you either spec into it or you don't. So, you know, become immune or highly, or if not all immune, but highly resistant to it, or just avoid it, you know. But like actually with these builds, with a lot of these one-shot builds, like fire is like one of your biggest threats. Not because of the damage you take, but actually because your targeting system goes down when you're on fire. You can't move and you're dizzy and you're kind of, you know what I mean, how your character reacts. And so, yeah, fire is painful. So any of the status effects are painful. Same with the riot foam. If I get riot foamed, I'm fucked. So, you know, I try to prioritize those targets, but I don't have a good answer for you, bud. I'm sorry. Yeah, when it comes to glass cannon and fire damage, just avoid it. But, I mean, and like when you're running the Outcast, just realize like their fire is really powerful. If you get hit with an Outcast fire grenade or one of the Huggers, the suicide bombers, I mean, you know how powerful it is when you kill one suicide bomber by a spawn door and watch the whole wave of Outcasts die from that single guy, his fire. That tells you, I mean, those guys are worth millions of, their health is in the millions, right? And so, you know, when you put up a little kill one of these fire suicide bombers right at their door and watch these guys who have health in the millions die, that tells you how powerful that fire is, and you need to stay away from it. So, yeah, I don't have a good answer for you except for stay away from the fire. Kill or be killed. Matthew says Tux has incredible aim with just a controller. I'm on PC and I don't have that good of aim. Yeah, you know, I've gotten used to how the game works, so I've had my practice. I actually started with the Mantis. I got a feel for it, but I realized Headhunter. So if you're not used to Headhunter, if you don't run Headhunter a lot, Headhunter actually helps your aim. So let's get into the build. That's a good segue, because I know somebody was asking about it and I wanted to get to that too. But so here's a quick build. Again, don't worry about these. I'm basically never using them. You want to run Sharpshooter because that's giving you 50% more stability and target reacquisition. So you can just basically hit more of your shots. Now this is specifically built around the D50. Now you can run different pistols with this build, okay? But you're gonna have to adjust a lot of the build for those pistols because the D50 is really unique in how its handling is. So this build is specific to the D50, okay? And so what I want you to look at is look at the accuracy and stability. They're at about what, 85%? Okay. Now, if I go to Regulus, they show 100%, but the reality is they're probably over 100%, right? So the Orbit, see how it adjusted there? So it lost accuracy but gained stability. So, I mean, even the Survivalist pistol is different. Probably because of the mod, but you see, so they're all different. So even the Liberty, look, it's maxed out, right, with this build. So the D50, notice it's not maxed out on the accuracy and stability, but the whole build is built into accuracy and stability. Look at that. See that? See triple Douglas and Harding, triple Overlord. So anyway, so I just want to make that clear. This is specifically the D50. So if you're not going to run the D50, you're going to have to adjust the handling on this build for whatever pistol you're going with. You might not need as much. But this build, but what's also important to know is that this build is so powerful that you have the luxury of adding in all that weapon handling so that you land your shots. And that's why Tux is landing his headshots, right? It's because, well, first of all, it's imperative that you land them. If you don't land the headshots, then, you know, nothing in your build is working, obviously. Yeah, obvious statement, but it has to be said. Anyways, so I ran Preservation for many, many other reasons, but mostly because of Headhunter, okay? So what I've realized about Headhunter in this series of builds over the last 4 builds is that Headhunter creates a lot of... Headhunter is so strong, so it's a good thing. It's so strong that it creates a lot of waste on your build if you don't synergize your build with Headhunter specifically, okay? And that's because it's so strong. Look, your damage is raised per kill. So that the kill blow, it increases your damage to up to 1,250%. All you need is 150% headshot damage to do that. So 1,250% increased damage on your build, okay? So that's really strong, obviously. So That, and you're starting with 552% total damage thanks to this pistol. So because of that, whatever weapon damage talent you have, whatever offensive talent you have, after the first kill is going to be useless because Headhunter is so strong. You don't need that because most enemies will die off of one shot from there. Now, there's the occasional rare enemy that won't die off of one shot, but you don't want to build for that rare enemy. That would make it a specialized build tailored to a rare enemy. What you want to do is optimize your build for basically everyday use, right? And so for me, I felt like the best talents here were then to switch to the offensive or the defensive side, which allows me to be more offensive. So we need to have survivability somewhere on the build besides time to kill. And so we got the fastest time to kill in the game, which is one shot, one kill. So we don't need to worry about time to kill anymore. What's up, Hit Hard? Welcome, brother. I'm glad you made it. And I said your name right, too. Thanks for clarifying. The X's threw me off. Anyways, so you don't need any more damage. You got time to kill at one shot. So that's as fast as it gets. So don't try to argue that you need more damage here. It just doesn't make any sense. So we decided to go for something on the defense side. So for me, it was going to be preservation because you need to have the ability to take damage and to have the regeneration of that of your armor so that you can go faster, get out of cover. So preservation allows me to be a better offensive player because it allows me to get out of cover. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay, and also we got fast reload times thanks to all the weapon handling, 1.2 seconds. That also, so weapon handling helps your reload times and again, makes you a better killer. So because of Headhunter and the weapon handling makes us a more efficient killer, okay? Okay, so, Punch Drunk. So is our first mask and the first brand attribute gives us 20% more pistol damage, so that's awesome. And then we're running 3 pieces, as you can see, which is giving us 20% stability and 20% accuracy. With the D50, stability is ultimately what you're after most, and then the accuracy is going to help you land more of those targets on the go, and also basically allow you to snipe targets, which you were able to see me do in the gameplay footage. So that's helping you snipe. So you can literally, I was taking out guys 100 yards, 150 yards with the pistol, thanks to accuracy. Okay, so Punch Strike gives us 20% headshot damage. They got weapon handling and more headshot damage. So basically you want everything to look like this, okay? And so our second piece of D&H is the gloves. It's not perfectly maxed out, but I did my best. And weapon handling headshot damage. The third piece is my holster for 20% more accuracy. And then we got weapon handling headshot damage. And just so you know, I started out with different configurations. I started out with Providence pieces for more headshot damage. I tried rolling in more damage armor on kill, but I felt like that was overkill because the pistol was giving us enough to run around like a crazy man. So I felt like the best use of our attribute slot, since we were getting the fastest time to kill already, was to build a more weapon handling accuracy and stability, because it always pays dividends. It always makes sure you land your shots. It never goes away. Headhunter doesn't make it obsolete. So our first piece of Overlord is giving us rifle damage, which we're not making use of, but what we're after is that damage to targets out of cover, which is multiplicative damage. But we're also after those second and third brand set attributes, accuracy and weapon handling. We want to land more shots. So I have more weapon handling here. I tried headshot damage. This paid better. And then I got more weapon damage there. Our second piece is the backpack, which is giving this 20% more accuracy. We got weapon handling and more headshot damage. And then I have vigilance, which is basically going to that first kill to proc Headhunter. It ensures a 1 bullet kill, maybe 2 bullets, depending on the enemy. But remember, once Headhunter comes into effect, once it's activated, vigilance, you don't care about vigilance anymore. You don't really care. It's whether it's active or not, doesn't matter. And then our last piece of Overlord is the chest piece, which is giving us 10% more weapon handling. And then I got headshot damage and weapon handling here, more of that. But then, of course, there's a magical Headhunter, which is the whole build is built around. And this is what allows you to do 1 shot, 1 kill. Now, remember, the weapon handling is really vital, because if you don't land your shots, you're not getting a fast time to kill, obviously. If you don't kill that guy, then he's shooting at you. So it gives you the weapon handling here gives you the fastest time to kill in the game because you actually land that shot. And if you land that headshot, then you kill him. So weapon handling equals fast time to kill because we already have the base weapon damage so high, right? And then if you're getting your fast time to kill, then you're getting your heals, the fastest heals in the game. You're getting armor on kill, right? 20% because we're always getting headshot kills. So weapon handling ensures you get your kill, ensures you get your heals. And that's why we want weapon handling. And the crazy thing is, again, we have all of that weapon handling and the stability, and we're still not maxed out. I think the only way to get up there is if we run braced, but then we lose headhunters, so I'm not willing to do that. But you can try it, see if you like it. You might be able to accomplish a lot, but I'm out of cover. I want to play out of cover, and headhunter allows me to play out of cover and also guarantee that one shot, one kill. So for the skills, I'm using the fixer drone. It just, I guess, sort of helps. And then I'm using the decoy. That's a big deal. The decoy is a lot about my survivability, okay? Adds a lot to my survivability. So it's basically my shield. You could also run the deflector drone. That would also help a lot, actually. But, you know, you repair the damage or block the damage. It's up to you. It's sort of the same concept. But I'm running directives. I'm running 3 directives, one of those being the skills degrade directive. So, you know, I'm limited on what skills I can run, but the other one I would recommend is actually the booster hive. They give you even more weapon handling to land even more shots. I'd actually go for that. Otherwise, you could go for the healer chem. That would also be helpful. So if you put on the healer chem, then you can give yourself a quick skirt if you're running low, or to give yourself a boost, whatever. So those are the other options, but I'm limited in not using those because, again, I'm running 3 directives. So if you're not going to run directives, then that's what I would recommend. Stats-wise, we're not worried about crit chance or crit damage. Again, crit chance and crit damage would go to waste because of headhunter. So once you get headhunter proc, you know, you don't care if you're critting or not. You don't care. So, and then if you're trying to base your build off of crits to get that first kill, well, 40% of the time you're going to get the lowest damage output you could possibly do. Again, 40% of the time you get the lowest damage output you could possibly do. That's if you run crits. So we don't want to do that. We want to run headshot damage so that we're guaranteeing ourselves 100% of the time that we're going to get the highest damage we can possibly. So there's a 10% crit chance, which means if we land that, then we're going to get 45% bonus damage on top of the 155% damage and everything else we got on the build. But that's how I look at it, right? So, but we're in the guarantees because we're looking for a one shot, one kill. We're looking for one shot, one kill. So armor damage, we do have a little bit of that at 12% armor damage. Oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong gun here. Shit, I'm sorry, guys, my bad. 10%, 45%, so that's about the same. But we have 210% headshot damage on the pistol, so it's just higher. Let's see here, but no armor damage, so sorry about that confusion. Reload speed is beautiful. Accuracy at 100%, basically 114% stability. And again, the gun isn't maxed out, which is crazy. It's not maxed out in accuracy and stability, and look at all that we have. But I'm telling you, this gun is a monster. To try to use it without accuracy and stability, you miss so many shots. Trust me, I tried. I started there. I started with like basically minimum accuracy and stability, and the thing just kicks all over the place. I mean, you're still gonna land your shots a little bit. Like I said before, there is a mechanic, and for those of you who are wondering, and in this headhunter, it doesn't say anything about it, but if you know this game, then you know that when you get your first kill, then your weapon handling increases by whatever amount we don't know, and it's not stated. There's nothing. It's not written down anywhere. But you feel your weapon handling improve after your first kill, after your second kill, after your third kill, and what I estimate is up to 4 kills. You can top out your weapon handling just if you wear the headhunter chest piece. So doesn't say that anywhere. That's experience with headhunter, and that's how I'm able to land most of my shots. And then there's the weapon handling, but like I'm just saying that as a blanket statement for all of my sniper builds. Like if I run the Mantis, I don't need to run weapon handling because headhunter does all the handling that I need, and I'm also playing deeper. So it doesn't have the Mantis doesn't have recoil issues, right? So Headhunter brings its own level of weapon handling to you. So, but it's not written anywhere. You'll feel it when you get your first kill. You'll notice your second kill is easier to get than your first. Your third kill is easier to get in your second, and then your fourth is easier to get than your third, and then it kind of tops out there, and the rest are just as easy. So that's the magic, guys. So it's a lot of it's that, a lot of it's the game mechanics, and I just realized that and I play into it. Okay, so if you find yourself spamming the trigger and missing a lot of shots because of that, just slow the F down. Take a breath, take a pause, and get your focus back in the game. What up, Raul Nigli? Welcome, bud. He says, what up, Tux? New player, new sub. Thanks for helping out new players like me. Google shows a different talent on the Liberty than what is currently now on the TU-12 Liberty. Blind Justice and Independence. Yeah, I'm sure they changed that. Somebody was just talking about that too. I don't remember what it used to be either, but yeah, Liberty or Death. Hits grant 2% weapon damage, stacks up to 30 times. Headshots consume all your stacks, repairing your shield 3% per stack. And that's why we don't use the Liberty for headshot builds, because you're punished for making headshots, because it heals your shield. But with headshot builds, we obviously want to go for headshots all the time. So see, it says you get all that extra headshot weapon damage, but if you land a headshot, it clears all that weapon damage. That sucks. So that's why we don't want to do the Liberty with this build. But good point, Raul. And welcome to the channel, man. Matthew has a good point. With glass cannon, you can take advantage of cover to cover and have a good angle on NPCs, so there's not more than one shooting you at the same time. Now, the reason why glass cannon works, if you guys are new to the game and you're wondering about glass cannon, so I avoided glass cannon for the longest time in this game, just thinking that, you know, it sucks and I hated it. I don't understand why you needed it, you know, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that once I learned, or once I started using glass cannon, for one, it's hard to use anything else because of the damage you wield. It makes everything else feel really weak, and so you could ruin yourself in the game by using glass cannon, by the way. And so I use glass cannon in a lot of my builds, and I do feel bad sometimes, but I do feel like it's the best in many cases, you know, for certain situations, for certain builds. And that's because I realized that time to kill, especially in legendary, is most important. But even in heroic, time to kill first is part of your survivability. It's the biggest chunk of survivability in your build is time to kill. And then it's time to heal. But if your time to kill is fast, then so is your time to heal. Because if your time to kill is fast, then you can play into armor on kill, which is the best type of heals in the game because it's basically instant, where everything else isn't. So that's the best heals in the game. And if you have instant heals, then you can play out of cover more. If you can play out of cover more, you can clear content faster. And so that's why glass cannon is great, because it improves your time to kill. So if you have an answer for the glass part, meaning instant heals, then the rest is just kind of playing your angles and trying to get the enemy to miss more. But taking some damage is okay, because as soon as you get that kill, which you know you're going to get because you got the power to do it, then you're going to have instant heals. But glass cannon is an excellent talent for the chess piece, and I would run it on everything if I could. But sometimes I put a slow roll on it just because I don't want to do too much glass cannon for you guys that don't like it. So yeah, Aldo, good call. Aldo says they need weapon handling mods. Dude, I so wish they had weapon handling mods. I'd rather have weapon handling mods and headshot mods, whatever. But yeah, I totally wish they had those. Gizu, Happy New Year, brother. We were just talking about you a little bit ago. We don't have any rumors or something for the new content expansion. No, not yet. Not yet. I'm sure we will this coming week, hopefully on Tuesday. We should be getting another intelligence annex post here soon, hopefully. So hopefully we get some news about the content there, but we'll see. We'll see. But hey guys, so that's all I have for today. I really appreciate you hearing me out and all the stuff that we had to talk about the community and keeping strong, banding together like brother banditos. Band together, brother banditos. Let's do this. We got a good year coming ahead of us. And remember, this week is we're gonna have a dedicated Texas Players Club week. So look out for all that cool new content and cool new builds just for you guys as a thank you for supporting the cause. And for the rest of you, I really appreciate you guys supporting the community and my channel. It really means a lot. Until tomorrow, hasta mañana.